还是可以再看一波。优势期，
这个其实顶得非常漂亮。 也是盖瑞特这个女枪下到往后，好像靠了一格上。
啊，这边有一个女枪活了，
开始难守了。这里还要交个滚木，看这个血量，后面这个小葫芦疯狂在摸，哇，摸得好爽，都摸死了。那这波守不住了，哎，但这波好像不能抹，没毒。CS 怎么感觉？哦，这个青龙解不了了，
是啊，
被青龙碰掉了。
就亡命一波呀！这锤剑虽然死了，但是
这个毒好像很有效果啊。这波墓园很欧。
可以，
要翻盘了感觉，而且对方的推荐能不能过出推荐3号来？
毒药来了！这边有快递！哎呀，
哇，力量哥要翻盘了，再来一波毒！哇，这里恭喜力量哥！
这个，
哇，有卫队！
恭喜一下力量哥！
哇，这打得太好了，真的太好了！
这就是劣势对局赢下。
上面是气球呀。
对呀。
气球怎么办？强行拉，
这破塔了，朋友！
哇，而且是这个狂暴球。
是的，
这波守不住了呀，这怎么守？这只能强行。哦，这波应该
还是能爆炸伤害吧？
哇，恭喜力量哥！
而且这个又跳到塔了，这边没有牢笼交，哎，这个要被炸塔了，要被炸到古龙的这个古龙的位置，因为木给一个矿工，这个矿工抓不了，了，火球直接砸还是直接防？可以考虑砸，
直接砸了，
然后滚木再防守一下，还是前面那个失误太大了，确实古龙直接被2费给炸掉，而且。 就是直接塔也掉了很多血。
对的。
但是他把毒药交了，这波墓园很难守啊！看一下，正好锁到骑士。哎呦，这波要交滚筒，打300了，400了，滚筒滚的还滚的后排，打好多血啊！但是这个古龙好像不好解了，30秒钟啊，自毒了，那就没机会了。因为墓园如果进攻交不出毒药的话，是打不了的。
要恭喜一下木给。
桥头全部要吃火箭了，
他有没有火箭？是个火球。
这个自闭带了一手，
这也有个大地方。
这个自闭带了一手那个奶豆，我是没太看懂。这把奶
直接飓风火球解的是很漂亮。
这边有火球，哎，矿工用来防守了，节奏很差。再踩个电阀，哇，这打很多血可以。毒药好像已经过出来了吧？
是。
哎，打了一下塔，还能挠吗？没挠到。 飓风斩了吗？那是
火斩，
那也是
恭喜一下 WED 剑拿下了这一局。
还有这边在过猪啊，
这波有机会哦。
对，这波是要交火球，
先预判阵，
这能打到一下好像
是。
哎，但是，哎，这黄亚巨人有15秒，看一下15秒，他输了，因为他能过第2个地震，这边地震已经过出来了。
好，我们要恭喜一下海尔，
恭喜海尔，
这波反打可以哦。
反打
可以接球的哦，
但是有
火
呢？
他扬没了，
扬没了。
是的，扬。
这边奶起来了，但是能砸1下，砸不出2下。这边很舒服啊，这波可以跟球。
奶起来。
干嘛？
扬了。
踩电法。哎，这。
哇！小拳还有10秒钟。
先踩超旗，再补滚木，补牢笼吧。滚木也行，啊，很稳。恭喜孩子哥1穿3。超旗墓园。 而且 TT 的2是整活的，它是有很多的这个不同的套路的，可以看一下。哇，这冰冻的漂亮！这边小法术呢？没了。
这一波打死，果然还是墓园的本性。
这28秒，这边撒豆是可以先蹦一波。女枪，哇，这边杰克先蹦了，杰克不下台。 这个踩，然后看一下血量，13秒。哇，这边先毒，那杰克这边怎么办？摸到1下，喂，摸到1下，921、831。说实话，这个时候谁都看不到。
他不停的过骑士和小骷髅就可以。
没砸火球了，改变了一下进攻策略。这个每次就是地震、滚木加血球。
地图的所有法术都可以摸到。
出来了，这边只能下艾台预判，这边有机会。
好的，要恭喜一下 Jack， 也要恭喜到 Five Gaming。
还有最后的可能是2波机会，还是有机会的。看这个气球表现，
我觉得这个
哇，有这个地狱塔，基本上没机会了，而且推进还在推，好像有机会。
来一下吗？
没有机会，还能再来一波。
给吗？木源，
这波对方要
吹剑吹的是哪里？吹剑吹的是前面，滚木先交。哇，真的是有一周滚木。阿火线斩杀。太难了，
这牢笼直接解。哎，这个小骷髅下的不好，要交火球吗？哇，不交火球，那敲了一下很赚啊！这边家居顶不太出来，就顶出来给火球。这边就拼法术了，能过第2个地震。
是啊，
地震已经过出来了。
好，我们要恭喜一下海尔。
这边 Paradox 好像是换那套皇家猪了 ，Paradox 这个牌是没有牌解超级很难，我可以直接换，然后一根滚筒解，然后看一下进攻怎么说。哇，这个奶豆奶了3个。
对，而且他这边建筑是先下了，所以没法拉到。
Paradox 这个牌它是没有骑士，就是他根本就挡不住这个前面的东西。
是要破塔了。
对，直接破塔。哎，这波桥洞女枪可以啊，直接把兵法给点了，然后牢笼也出，牢笼也被点了。这波女枪的节奏好，这边撒豆是可以先蹦一波，撒豆先蹦，但是这个女枪火了，女枪，哇，这边 Jack 先蹦了，
哎呀，把女枪
Jack 还有女枪可以守，Jack 不下台，哇，这边先毒，那 Jack 这边怎么办？哎呀，摸到一下，喂，摸到一下，921 831，哇！
力量哥再来一轮就要被斩杀了，他一定要蹦了，再不蹦就晚了。
就亡命一波呀！这吹剑虽然死了，但是
这个毒好像很有效果啊！这波木源很欧，
过牌，稳住！
哇，这3角防御可以，再来一个毒，直接斩杀。毒，哇，这里恭喜力量哥！哎，
杰哥，
哇，有卫队。
恭喜一下力量哥！
Welcome to Clan Wars 2! Your journey begins here. And what the?
What is love? Baby, don't hurt me. Don't hurt me no more. What is love? Baby, don't hurt me. Don't hurt
As I was saying... Oh, wait! Hello? Everyone seems to have left. The king should never row himself. I'll just wait here, so send someone to get me.
聊是要滚木斩杀吗？还是直接解救预判吗？
恭喜一下 Nova。
마법들도 있고요. 파이어볼만 돌아갑니다. 네, 마무리됐습니다.
Still, the baby dragons are alive, and that 3 round roller.
他这个套式就进来。
好，拿到了3星。
恭喜 TDG 啊！
ここ回して KK 選手勝ち切りました。
Be careful, but still, Cannon.
再加一个
滚墨，
斩杀了。
恭喜一下 WEGM。
2, and that's it. 3-0 grand finals. Bob is your Clash Royale League East champion. Nova esports.
타이든간의 경기는 오히려 탈론이었다.
TTG.
コースとなりました。
Hits against Game W. 優勝はハブゲーミング。
クラロワリーグイースト後半最終長寿赛バイシーズン頑張ります。フォーシーズンウイースト頑張ります。
最近
Welcome everyone to Clash Royale League East Fall Season. My name is Simon. With me, as always, G-Clef. How's it going, buddy?
Great. Second day of the week. It's a Sunday, so maybe some teams are going to perform better. But we're having a big update soon.
I know.
Giant, the new Giant.
Might not be available straight away for CRL though, if I remember correctly. Usually there's a bit of a grace period.
Yes, at least like a week or two.
It's looking good though. I'm
Looks
enjoying what I'm seeing.
But pretty heavy. 8?
It's fine. I'm an ex-Golem player. 8's nothing. That's the usual. Right. We had an amazing day yesterday with 2 sweeps that I know I didn't see coming from those players. I'm guessing you didn't see them coming either. Yakitori and Boss getting sweep city yesterday. 2 sweeps. Yakitori went from being like bottom, like I think it was like 30th, 40th. He's now, what is it, 5th in the table? 5th in the table, 67% win rate off 1 clean sweep.
But with less game count than a lot of other guys around him.
That's a technicality. That's a technicality.
But I knew that Yakitori was going to have a day. I knew that Boss was going to have a day.
True. All right, looking at the standings, Ponos sitting very pretty at the top right now, 10-1. The closest to them, Nova Esports, are their opponents today. They are 7-5. We go down the table, Kick 6-4, WEDGM 6-6, Talon 5-6, Bov 4-7, Team Timing 4-8, and TTG 3-8. And even with Boss's clean sweep, they could not close out the game. What needs to go right for TTG to start getting victories? Well, we'll see today when they go up against Talon. And that was the quickest
Yes, that was really
today's
quick.
game sheet I have ever seen.
TTG Talon, that's a final match for today. Yeah, both teams on a pretty long losing streak. So at least one of the teams will escape the losing streak.
I hope it's
because of that
TTG.
matchup.
I hope it's TTG because TTG are one of the teams that really do need this win. And I think if they get it today, this table becomes absolutely crazy. Everyone will be at 4-8 or whatever. Okay, first match though. Ponos versus Nova, the best Japanese team, the best team in the league versus the best Chinese team. Last time round it was 2-0 to Ponos, but Mookie versus Elsiop, will it be on the cards for today?
But Boogie did not even play yesterday though. It was just KK.
Didn't need to. Yakitori got the sweep.
Oh yeah, Yakitori just got it, right?
Yeah,
Didn't even see him.
Yakitori didn't just went in, cleaned up, and then walked out the door. Did you see the video after that was posted on Twitter? Yakitori bursts out the gaming room, literally skipping down the corridor to his mates.
Guys, I did it!
Yeah, legitimately, he jumps on the sofa. It's like, yeah, and everyone's like cheering him on because for Yakitori, that means a lot. That player has been kind of like hovering around that 1v1. You think maybe he's going to do good, maybe he's not, but he performed yesterday, and I like that Ponos. They're guaranteed into the playoffs. I think they're guaranteed into Worlds now at this point.
I believe so, because the worst you can get is 3rd or 4th. Pretty sure they're gonna win. They're gonna take the title of East and maybe even Worlds. No, I think this is really the season this year where East takes all the titles. Just gonna lay that down softly right there.
It's a big bet there. Big bet there, G-Clive. Okay, 2v2 player standings. AUK and LCL. Then Rad and Reiki, then Tengod and Yakitori. The top 3 filled by the 2 teams you are about to see. Will we get to see AUK LCL though? That's going to be the question, because they have been rotating quite a few of these 2v2 pairings. Their status in the playoffs is pretty much confirmed, so maybe they can go back to trying things out with Little Chen. We'll see, as Rad and Reiki are going to be the pairing from Ponos.
But I believe from Nova, the previous 2 matches, it was their duo was AUK and LCL, and Ponos against other opponents. Maybe these teams can try several different things, but in this specific matchup, likely they're gonna face each other again in the playoff, maybe even in the grand final of the season. So it's better to just go straight out and try to dominate your opponent.
Yeah, the last time these 2 teams met, it was actually AUK and D-King going against Rad and Reiki, and that finished 2-1 to Ponos Esports. I do like the AUK LCR pairing. They are amazing together. And Fireball ban against the Lava Hound ban. So Giant Skeleton still in the mix. Tornado still in the mix. We've seen that pairing just absolutely destroy counter pushes yesterday when neither of those cards were banned. So Fireball Lava Hound.
We did have a Fireball ban yesterday, I believe, and it drew out a lot more Skeleton Dragons, even 3 Musketeer.
Yeah, 3 Musketeer, Royal Hogs.
And that was also Ponos, I believe, having 3 Musketeer with Tengod. So this means a lot. Ponos certainly have practiced without a Fireball for 2v2 during the week. And was Tengod Yakitori yesterday, now it's Rad and Reiki Jones.
They're going to go up against AUK and LCL, the dream pairing of Nova Esports' 2v2. 88.9% win rate, I believe it was. So we'll see how they perform here.
And though Lava, I do like the snipe ban from Nova. At least there is at least 1 game, usually from Ponos or even Fob with the Lava Hound. Especially when there were lots of Musketeer banned, when that was a matchup for 2v2, that we see at least once or twice, or some even Lava matchup.
Right now, it's kind of looking like it's going to be RG or Royal Hogs. Just the Heal Spirit. Heal Spirit pairs better with those 2 than anything else, I think, in 2v2.
We've seen some more Ram Riders yesterday.
Ice Wizard played at the back.
Yeah, because of Lava Fireball, Tornado is allowed. So Ice Wizard makes a lot of sense.
Pulling the Giant Skeleton into the middle. Is everything there, I think, will escape. Oh, unless you do that. Tornado there clearing everything up. Huge swing in Nova's favor with that.
Nova doesn't want to take any damage. Putting down the cage just to take 1 less shot from that dragon. Here we go with the Dark Prince. Here comes the graveyard.
Good Fisherman pull, moving that giant skeleton out the way so it doesn't kill the counter push. But Tornado again comes in. And I thought the Dark Prince and Giant Skeleton, Dark Prince and Skeleton Dragons there were going to get to the tower, but unfortunately not. Nova do drop their RG right at the bridge, and a graveyard as well. This is absolutely deadly from Nova right now, but poison comes down. It's not good enough.
I think that was defensive poison.
Defensive and offensive poison.
But still, the RG did way too much damage, bringing it down to less than 4 digits. I think that attack just did about 1,000 or even more than that.
Absolute carnage is what it was. Ponos, how are they going to find a way back into this? We're down to the last 10 seconds. It's possible, it is graveyard poison, so it is always possible to just get one monster hit. It depends if they're carrying freeze or if they're deciding to carry something else. And here we go, RG graveyard again. Defensive poison is down to try and protect from that graveyard, but Giant Skeleton on the left-hand side does get to the tower. One giant hit there, one Skeleton Dragon actually getting the hit. Will that bottom left tower actually go down?
It's not going to go down, but it's going to take a major hit. Here comes the counter push from Ricky and Rat. Defensive poison from Nova. They will barely take any damage. Oh, that's a freeze. Now the Giant Skeleton is pretty close to the tower. Get pulled into the king.
And I think this will be it. This RG is going to close in on this tower. The Giant Skeleton going to walk right up into the face of that Ice Wiz, and I think this is it. Log to push it back to see if it can get away from the tower, but the Skeletons are just going to be too much. Nova Esports take a very easy 2v2.
I wouldn't say easy, just better timing, and the placement of that first RG was important because before the RG, Ponos dropped their Fisherman to pull the Giant Skeleton, and which allowed the RG to go straight directly into the tower, allowing another graveyard. And I'm sure Ponos had freeze available. They could have had a defensive freeze, but just ended up using defensive poison only.
Well, I mean, if they defensive freeze, I don't think it would have been enough. I think that expenditure of Elixir, they didn't have much to defend around it. With the defensive freeze, you need other units to pile on top to clean out that wave, and they just did not have that available. That Fisherman there pulling out that Giant Skeleton. If that stayed in lane, it would have been a different story. Tornado has to be spent. Just how quiet Nova are compared to everyone else.
And look at near full health. Then Skeleton gets pushed.
Tornado came in, RG cleans up. I mean, what could you do? Would you expect a pairing of RG and Graveyard together in 2v2? It's unusual to say the least.
They had a similar pair yesterday. But so far it's been working.
Is this the future of 2v2 in CRL where we see RG Graveyard?
I think a lot of the teams are going to mix in 2 win conditions, and one of the 2 will always be Graveyard though.
Mix in 2 different win conditions, because usually you see like the double RG, double Giant Skeleton, that style of play that was popularized way back when. But I do like this RG Graveyard style, because it makes sense, because you know your opponent's going to try and flood the bridge to stop the RG from getting up in your face. So why not take the back door and drop that Graveyard in? It makes so much sense as a pairing. Seems to be a timeout called by Ponos here.
I can confirm that Ponos have asked for a timeout.
Ban of Fireball would not have stopped Ponos from playing that deck. Usually we see them play the deck that they've properly prepared in 2v2 against what they banned in the second match. So maybe we get to see something a little quirkier. Royal Hog 3M. Are there any other combinations you can think of, Chico?
just not too far off from what you have said and what we have seen yesterday from Ponos. I'm sure they have practiced same, if not same, very similar type of decks with the other duo, but I think Ponos was thinking with the Fireball ban, the reason why they brought some cheaper cycle is because they wanted to force out a lightning from Nova. To force some heavier spells, or maybe even a rocket tornado. And when you force out heavier spells, Ponos having a pretty low average elixir deck, you can force out many different rotations, sort of catching them off guard when your opponent doesn't have enough elixirs to defend against the graveyard freeze. I think that's what Ponos was thinking. That's the reason why they started using graveyard later on into the game, not early on.
Well, we'll hopefully see if Ponos can get this 2v2 on the road against Nova Esports. AUK and LCUP, if they win this, they will, I think, become the top pairing in 2v2. It's going to be close, but this is number 1 ranked versus number 2 ranked. Ponos, Rad and Reiki, they are sitting at the top of the table in terms of 2v2 standings. AUK and LCUP are number 2 in the standings. Let's see what this one brings. Nova made it look a little bit too easy. Game 1, let's see what happens in game 2.
And no Fireball means it's a lot easier to place your Skeleton Dragons. Also right up front.
Seems like we might be going the same matchup here. Or, no.
And with the P.E.K.K.A this time, I think Ponos, they want to chop down potential Giant Skeleton or even RG.
It's going to be Ram Rider. Is this Ram Rider going to find its way in? No, the Goblin Cage is there.
Takes the death damage, so it's gone. It's not a bad idea, of course. And the Mega Knight.
Yeah, splitting Mega Knight and P.E.K.K.A is a nice idea, making sure that you don't just double stack that massive AoE damage. P.E.K.K.A can definitely support the Mega Knight. We have seen issues where Mega Knights and Ram Riders do not play well together because the Mega Knight does block that lane, and the Ram Rider gets stuck in no man's land. But it hasn't happened so far, and once again, AUK and LCUP are just shutting the door with this defense, making sure nothing breaks through.
Pretty good defense. As the Ram was about to get a soft touch, actually a slowed down charge, pulled by the tornado, before that logged away. And Nova's trying to maximize their log or spell usage. And instead on the bottom, the graveyard did about 400. There was no poison.
So once again, loading up with the P.E.K.K.A Musketeer right behind it. Heal Spirit is there just to free up that P.E.K.K.A. Oh, that's nice timing on that Fisherman right there. Lightning comes down, but again, I don't think it's going to make it to the tower. This P.E.K.K.A isn't. The Ram Rider definitely didn't. And again, shutting up shop are Nova. This defense is absolutely perfect right now for them.
And Ponos, they ended up using way too much because of lightning there. And now they have enough for the P.E.K.K.A. They do for the Giant Skeleton, but the trade on the left, let's see the cost. RD finally getting some shot in the cage.
P.E.K.K.A is the beautiful answer to that RG. The problem is, it's never really going to find its way across the bridge into a tower. I know they don't really want that. It'd be nice, but that's a bonus. But they really can't get these Ram Riders into areas of danger because everything just gets blocked off.
Ponos, they want to pair the Ram with their offensive lightning. Again, waited for some potential lightning chance, but yeah, I don't think you want to use lightning right there when they're all damaged. So in terms of leaking, not elixir, HP on the tower, yeah, Ponos, they're starting to leak and bleed left and right.
Yeah, their defense is just not holding up against this massive offense that AUK and LCUP can kind of conjure out of nowhere. And they never look troubled with these Ram Riders. This might be the first one. No, the cage is good. Lightning comes down and doesn't even hit the cage. Heal Spirit heals all that back up that's in that poison right now. Nothing seems to be going right for Ponos' 2v2 pairing today.
Having a tough time, Ramrider and a Tornado. Pretty nice timing to catch it with the freeze and poison. Defensive law comes down and the Leeway, so it blocks maximum damage, but still that is going to hurt.
Here is the RG Giant Skeleton Dark Prince Blade right up front. That's going to get pulled away, but Pekka is going to be there. Mega Knight's on top too, but one shot does sneak through. Two shots because of the Heal Spirit as well.
Oh my.
Nova Esports are just dominating this 2v2 right now.
Less than 600, there's a freeze, poison, even the baby dragon catching a hit. Nova Esports making this 2v2 look a little too easy against the best duo of the entire league.
Well, that is definitely not the start I think Ponos were expecting, because
look how happy LCUP and AUK are.
Well, they just proved they are the #1 2v2 pairing.
And that went pretty easy. A lot easier than we thought. I'm pretty sure they're thinking that right now because they didn't even change
They didn't look stressed. I mean, those two games, AUK and LCR just dominated. They controlled the game beginning to end. They took very little damage. They never looked stressed. Any push that was coming over from Ponos was dealt with in the most elixir-efficient manner, time and time again. And the Ramrider is not performing well in 2v2.
And Ponos, they had a win condition and with a great backup idea. Ramrider, when there's cage, use lightning so the Ramrider just goes straight. That was never the case. And Nova had some great offensive tornado freeze. Just tornado freeze and poison all the way.
And one of the issues here that you just saw in that little exchange is that Ponos had to throw down so much elixir to try and just defend there. And Nova just take advantage. I mean, that RG getting 2 shots is uncalled for. It didn't really need to do it. We could have just carried on and Nova still would have won, but it sneaking through with that Heal Spirit was absolutely insane. That was a good freeze as well.
It went down with another P.E.K.K.A shot. Slow from the Ice Wizard allowed another hit from the RG, which was really great. We didn't even get to see that Ice Wizard because it was right below Skeleton Dragons, but the slow was there all the time. P.E.K.K.A's already pretty slow at hitting a target. When it's slowed down, RG would definitely get one more shot, so that was a heck of a push from Nova. Game 2 actually looked easier compared to Game 1.
It's insane that you just took on the #1 ranked 2v2 pairing and you make it look that easy. AUK and LCUP are a scary 2v2 duo.
Here's what I think. I think against Nova, you ban Tornado. Because their Tornado works every time.
It does indeed. All right, looking at the King of the Hill player standings, look at that. The top 5 players of this league completely dominate this match. It is Ponos players. 3 of Ponos against 2 of Nova. I think it's LCUP and CRS kind of sandwiched in between a Ponos. Pieces of Ponos bread, I'd say.
Okay. He's up first. And CRS. Oh, this is a pretty good matchup. And a weird choice to have KK up first.
We've seen it a couple times this season, and you know, when it happens, he tends to do pretty well. I don't think he's ever swept from the first position. I'm trying to remember. I don't think he has.
I remember once he came out as second, and then got a sweep.
He actually did come out first and swept Fav. Back in the first half of the season.
Okay.
Very early on, he did come out there and swept. CRS, we know he has the sweeping ability. Currently, out of his 7 wins, 6 of those have been from sweeps. He swept kicks early on in the season and swept team timing in the second half of the season. Will he be able to sweep Ponos and basically close out a dream Nova Esports day?
Will be the miracle, but 2v2 happened, and it's been a while. With Ponos losing in set going into King of the Hill.
Very long while.
Tesla. Double bait with Tesla.
Yeah, and it doesn't look like KK is particularly prepared for this. It might be a rocky start for KK in this matchup.
Concrete and just left alone on the left, and the log did not get the push.
Yeah, a lot of damage from that cannon cart. It's looking like graveyard for KK. Oh, doesn't catch the goblins from the barrel and takes absolutely massive amounts of damage. The delivery completely whiffing there. And KK does not look happy.
It did not catch all the goblins. I think even if it came down, it still got all those stabs first. So both players, due to cycle and some slower reaction, taking some more hits. It's mainly due to Knight, because both players are forcing Knight to be played, and right after there's nothing else that you can have.
He's gonna have to eat another set of hits there. CRS is in a very strong position in this matchup.
It depends on when CRS is putting down those Teslas. Sometimes against the motor, right up front. Sometimes against the cannon cart.
More damage leaking through for KK. It is not his day right now.
And yes, he had to use the delivery, so against the barrel, he has to take the damage again.
This is starting, like, CRS is pulling KK apart, and it is looking like CRS is just going to manhandle this first game, but this first graveyard does come in. Knight up front, cannon cart just behind. Cannon cart does switch early on. Graveyard isn't getting that much damage. Poison is down as well, but nothing to stop these. And another set of hits from that Goblin barrel, down to 1-1-8. Fireball will close this out for CRS. It is all or nothing for KK right now.
Trying to sneak that cannon cart in to pair it up with the graveyard. Did not have enough elixirs. Now CRS going down the last barrel before the fireball cycle. There we have it. KK going down. So 3 games in a row for Nova Esports so far.
Wow. Okay. This was supposed to be the first in the league who have been absolutely dominant all season versus second in the league who've had their ups and downs. Right now, it would be easy to think it is the other way around. You would think that Ponos are in that second place because Nova are just clowning around.
Yeah. Well, this was certainly a matchup where you just call for a mud fight. It's not going to be clean. You know you're going to be lacking in lots of spells. Not just KK, also CRS.
Oh, it could.
Only two. So it was 1 tile up.
I guess he was expecting the split around the tower instead of all 3 going towards back. Oh.
So it was... And CRS just made a right call. He had his Dark Goblin coming from the bridge.
That was a real nice play there, throwing the barrel there, just to make sure the Knight doesn't get to tank. Yeah.
Just in case. He still had like 1100 left on that tower.
I mean, it would have been fine. I don't think he would have lost it if he didn't do that, but it was such a nice little move just to ensure victory. You know, it's one of those safety measures that you have to take when you're about to finish off the game in the next card.
Yeah, style points, I call.
All right. So if you're Ponos now, you have to send out Mugi, right?
Either Mugi or someone else, then Mugi.
It's going to be Reiki. Okay. Reiki Jones currently 19th when it comes to the 1v1 leaderboard. 50% win rate. CRS just out of nowhere, man. The guy, is this going to be an all kill? Is he going to get the sweep?
I do not know, but the double bait certainly looked pretty good against KK.
Yeah, last time out, Reiki played Sado, lost 2 games to him, and Graveyard Poison and... what was it? Graveyard with the Cage, and Graveyard with the Cage again. So yeah, played the same deck twice. Let's see if I can find that sheet. Where was it?
There are lots of weird decks going around, like Giant Sparky with Pump. We're starting to see some Pump back in action.
Oh, I wrote down the same deck twice.
Uncharacteristic mistake by Simon, as he's a robot AI.
So his last few, he did start off pretty well. He was 3-1. He beat Sado early on in the season, first half. Then he lost to Nuri. Has beat Radish higher, then lost to Solomon and Sado. That is Reiki Jones's current record in CRL East. As I said, 50% win rate currently. We'll see if that increases today against CRS.
Lava Balloon or Lava Miner?
Well, does he have anything to do with these hogs, or is he just going to have to eat all that damage? It looks like...
Yes, he wants... Seems like he did not have Barbarian open up.
That's... Yeah, okay. Reiki has to go all in on this. I just don't think he's got enough here. That tower actually goes down to just 1 set of hogs.
And even used the zap. Maybe get that connection, but the Musketeer came down early.
Reiki Jones making an early sacrifice of his tower for absolutely no damage whatsoever. And that is not the start I think he was hoping for today.
CRS needs minute 36. He can escape with at least 2 wins for today.
He's going to sweep him, isn't he?
It's possible, but you know who the last person is going to be from Ponos. I mean, this is not over yet, but because CRS does control the speed with the Royal Hogs, getting the second crown is of course a little tougher.
Well, I don't think he's going to need to. It doesn't look right now as if Reiki is going to manage to take anything on this tower. That Lava Hound absolutely squashed by CRS. No damage from the pups. Fireball to clean everything up. Inferno Dragon is going to maybe survive with a little bit of HP, and that is it. Miner does come in, but Musketeer is there to answer that.
A zap just to do some more damage to tower and Musketeer. That's not going to help. Reiki needs a lot more than that.
I just can't see how he's going to do it. He's got 30 seconds to try and make some kind of miracle happen with this Lava Hound deck, but I just don't think it's going to happen. He looks like he knows it's not going to happen, but it looks like he is having the time of his absolute life. CRS throws down an early good game, and I think we all know it's a drawn conclusion at this point. No way back at all. Reiki tried a very risky early play.
Barbarian's instantly gone. Doesn't get the second crown, but still with that first push. That's literally what you do. You see a lava, go, go, go on the other side.
Wasn't even go, go, go. He just dropped down hogs and walked away. Go, go, go would imply investing more than that little bit of elixir. I mean, CRS made that look easy again. That has been basically the flow of today. Nova have made this matchup look way easier than it should be. Are Ponos holding things back for the playoffs?
No, I think it's what Nova has done. They've done a good amount of study and running into a super good matchup. And not just the matchup, also Reiki. If he had the Barbarians to open up, he would have played it 100%.
It would have been a very different game had he had that, but I mean, he didn't, and he didn't have nothing else. Maybe not playing the balloon and playing the skeleton dragons to try and hold that tower as long as possible. Was he a little bit too greedy with that?
No, but that type of matchup, even if Reiki had Barbarians, because he already played that lava, he was going to take at least maybe 1,000, maybe more.
Well, taking 1,000 is a lot better than taking 2,534, right?
That's true, but it was eventually going to go down. Just lack of ground defense. Plus, CRS also had Fireball, so I think it was coming down to the same conclusion, but in a different game format.
Well, CRS is looking like he might get another sweep this season, his third of the season.
Our expectation coming into this matchup was,
Not
whoa, 3 games, 5 games, 3 games. Maximum amount of games for going into set 3 for sure. Maybe we'll run into like a crazy matchup like Mugi versus LCB or like AUK versus KK or something like that.
And now,
I don't think it's going to go there.
I was not expecting this to be a 5-game matchup for sure. And it is 1 game away. CRS can completely just take this by the horns and make one of the biggest statements. And it's going to be Rad in the final slot. It's not even going to be Mugi.
And Ponos, they already used their timeout in 2v2. So they have no more timeout. But weirdly enough, Nova asked for a timeout right now. They're having a massive streak.
Maybe they're telling CRS like, hey buddy, we need some experience of the other players. Like, can you just not play so hard today? Like, we weren't expecting you to get the sweep. We're expecting you to get 1 win. That would be terrible. That's Formula 1 in a nutshell, if anyone watches Formula 1, where you get team orders. It's like, let him pass, let him pass. It's like,
let him pass. You have to think about the record and have a team win, not just yourself. You gotta be a team player sometimes, you know?
But if that's the call, like you'd have to, you know, you'd have to look at Nova Esports and go like, why would you do that? Like, maybe they just want to take us to that set 3 1v1 because we want to see it.
Of course, this is a matchup that you want to see the maximum amount of games. But like, CRS is doing fine. Like, just let him win. Like, this bench is about to fall. This bench is about to collapse with that many members on it. But if he let this guy do whatever he wants to, and he's going to.
That bench looks like it's ready to go home. I don't know about you. I don't think they were expecting it to be like this. But it is down to Rad. If anyone can pull a miracle, it will be Rad. Let me just... So, in terms of his 1v1 rate, he is 34th. He has a 25% win rate. His 1 win was against AUK. And since then, he has lost to D-King, Paradox, and Blizzard. In terms of decks, Lava Loon, Balloon Mega Knight was another deck that he's played. He has played Royal Hogs and Double Barrel, so we'll see what he decides to bring there. And it's a Flying Machine.
Good miner.
So most likely Lava Hound from Red. There's a Night Witch.
Ooh. We're going to see the classic giant.
We'll see how CRS is going to be able to do this. Right now, Red is putting up one of the longer fights that we have seen from Ponos today. Next to no damage being done right now. It's getting loaded up this time on the left, but there is a caged answer this time round.
There were some giant decks with the Fisherman. Also giant skeleton with the Flying Machines, with a similar type with the Miner. Feeling giant for this one.
Again loaded up, giant skeleton dragons there to answer those. Like, the damage is coming through for CRS, but it is 100% in the form of that Miner. Floats up again. Not caught out by the Night Witch here, but it is going to be taken down rather quickly once those bats spawn.
And the two spear
There's
goblins.
the Lava Hound.
Ooh. Lava combination. And just the fireball.
I think that might be enough. I think this might actually get into tower.
Getting some damage, but the spear goblins are doing some more. Taking care of those small bats, pups.
It's a good push. And Night Witch played right deep at the back. That allows the miner of CRS to get a couple more hits, but Lava Hound loaded up at the bridge. Musketeer is going to be shut down by those bats as well. Will this be the push to finish it off and give Rad a win in this King of the Hill? A fireball to the flying machine. Kind of says no. No catch on the miner either. More damage coming through. Another bomb tower loaded up. Night Witch played at the back for Rad to answer the miner, but oh, half those pubs just disappear in the blink of an eye.
One of the pubs actually connected along with the miner, so it was able to do at least a couple of hundred. Rad trying to push, give no further chances for CRS to come back in this game. That actually pushes in Night Witch.
The Night Witch gets two big swings of that battle axe into the tower.
Some more miner hits, and the splash.
186.53, it's still there, but the fireball comes down and Rad ends CRS's sweep. Wow, okay, game on. The Night Witch Lava Hound combination is enough to just cripple CRS there, but that was not a clean fight. CRS was within touching distance of finishing that for himself.
With the miner wall breaker, and Rad just kept on pushing with that lava. And got the maximum soak with lava catching the musketeer and most of the spear goblins, and when that came through, sometimes the flying machine did some work, and the Night Witch actually going past the point where it actually did damage twice.
Yeah, the death damage of the bomb tower there took out 3 of the pups. So it could have been even worse in that instant, but loading up instantly with the Night Witch, applying the pressure, making sure that your opponent can't really afford to put a miner up in the back of your base, behind your tower. And I mean, that was just twisting the knife here for Rad, who did eventually take the game by the horns, and getting the splash damage through the night is unfortunate for CRS, but there was nothing he could do.
So the fireball did push in the Night Witch, but he had to get the flying machine with the fireball, so it was something that he just had to do. It was forced by Rad's timing and play, so well done by Rad taking the game there with that lava. So ever since overtime, I think right at overtime or right after overtime, he kept on pushing from the bridge, which I loved. Musketeer is certainly good, but sometimes not enough with the spear goblins. And here comes AUK to save the day. He only needs 1 win for Nova to bring it home.
He does indeed. AUK last time out, just yesterday in that 1v1 set against Huyi, made it look all too easy. Played Loon Mega Knight and played the Royal Giant with the Ewiz variant that we see knocking around. AUK is currently ranked 8th, I believe, in the top 1v1 stats overall. That includes the 1v1 set and has 60% win rate. Can Rad get another win? Can he do a Yakitori and get a sweep out of nowhere?
When the team already lost KK and Reiki Jones, that's a lot of pressure against the second best in the league, who's right below you, by quite a margin in terms of match score.
Yeah, if Ponos lose this, it's only their 2nd loss of the season, whereas Nova have lost 5 times. I mean, there is a lot of breathing room for Ponos right now, so they do have the luxury of being able to do things like this where they don't put out their A-star roster in King of the Hill. But that's not to take away from CRS. He has taken out KK. He did take out Reiki. Rad took him down, and now it is Rad versus AUK.
And Rad, compared to his teammates, he does like to play same decks. Let's see what the choice is going to be for AUK. Maybe a similar version of what we have seen yesterday, a Balloon. Balloon Mega Knight, or cheaper Cycle perhaps.
I think it might be Lumberjack Balloon.
Lumberjack Balloon?
That's the only time I think AUK has played Snowball this season, is when he played the Lumberloon with the Royal Recruit.
Yes, with the Recruit. Let's wait if you get to see Recruits or Fishermen, then we'll have some better idea. Ice Golden Balloon's there with the Miner, but usually that doesn't have the Skeleton Dragons.
I mean, any guesses of what Rad's playing right now? He has legitimately one card played down, waiting for this double elixir mode. Could be the same deck.
Yes, I think that's the reason why he's waiting. He has to wait for the lava. And guessing that it's going to be Balloon from AUK.
With what has been shown so far, Rad definitely must be thinking it is Balloon. And we'll see as we get into the last 60 seconds. All right, they continue to wait.
There's some more, a few more snowballs with Royal Hogs.
Yeah, definitely could be Royal Hogs as well. I'm just saying, last time I think AUK played Royal Hogs, he played the Mega Knight Magic Archer version, and the spell there was only long.
And we're ticking down.
This is the longest game of chicken I think I've ever seen.
But Red has to play. He is indeed losing in HP.
What? Are we really going to get down to the end of regular time?
So there's overtime.
AUK is not going to respond to that. Wow, okay. 3 minutes of waiting has finished.
And nothing.
Barb HUD, okay. And
Now
there
we're
is
talking.
the Lumberloon from AUK. That balloon is not going to be pushed to the side. The rage is there. It's going to get at least one drop.
So that's one now.
1264 remains on that tower. And was waiting the right decision for Rad. We'll find out. He has 1 minute and 30 to kind of try and break through. There's the graveyard, but nothing to tank for it.
Skeleton Dragon is going to come, but Cage blocking some of those shots. Musketeer already taking care of the skeletons. And AUK barely takes damage.
Next to nothing done right there. And there we go. Lumberjack played at the bridge. Delivery does come down. There is the balloon. One Skeleton Dragon and a Musketeer against a raged up balloon. The Hill Spirit's going to get a little bit of extra damage, but it is going to go down, but the death damage is going to be there.
And it was also from the push of the Skeleton Dragons. A lot of elixir also used by Rad in that push. As long as AUK is putting the death damage, it will be okay. Since he's got the snowball, there's always a chance of getting a balloon connection.
Just pushing everything out of the way. It's going to be close. Delivery played right up front. Trying to get tanks in to maybe play another graveyard. He needs to do it. He's got 30 seconds to get this done.
Oh, the Skeleton Dragons and the Musketeer raged up. They're so powerful.
Delivery will answer that, but 2 hits from the Skeleton Dragon, and this graveyard needs to work. Poison is there. We're down to the last 10 seconds, and no damage is really coming through from this graveyard. And AUK knows it. He's already celebrating.
Hands off the device. That's it. Nova Esports takes down Ponos. 2-0 set score with just dropping a single game.
Not the matchup, not the match we were expecting, G-Clef. We were not expecting it to be this easy for Nova Esports. That was the most toothless display I think we have seen from Ponos all season.
You're right, and surprising that they are not going to have Mookie.
Again, I think they know they've qualified. I think they're just trying things out for the knockout stages, for the playoffs, for possibly Worlds, just trying to get a few more people, because Reiki and Rad are not the usual two you would see in this 1v1, but that doesn't take away from the fact that Nova made today look far too easy. And that puts Nova Esports at 8-5 on the season.
Yeah, better news for Nova as they will keep their second place spot a little bit further away from third now.
And as I said, the only time we have seen AUK this season play Snowball is with that Lumberjack balloon. So unless Rad completely knew, he kind of did miss the placement of his Barbarian HUD, playing it slightly to the left and having nothing to pull that balloon in or even defend it.
Because Rad put down the Barb HUD first, and we know MVP, of course, AUK from 2v2. And Nova takes the win against Ponos, but we are not done. We still have 2 more matches. Next match is Kicks team versus Bob Gaming. We'll come back after a short commercial break.
And welcome back to CRL East. That was not the result we were expecting. 100%. Nova just dominating Ponos esports. Ponos. I'm lost for words.
Yeah, rather quick match than we thought. I thought it was going to be at least an hour and a half with like at least maybe 7, 8 games, 9 games or more. What? It seems to me, and we were just talking during the break, that Ponos may be taking
their foot off the gas a little bit.
Taking some more experimental plays and active roster because they have to go into best of 5 in 2 weeks. So I think they were trying to experiment a little, and also just Nova Esports, their 2v2. 2v2 was just solid. The better preparation, better wind conditions, and overall just better. But for CRS definitely had really good matchup, and KK just having somewhat of a bad matchup plus some bad plays on his own.
Yeah, I mean, that was Ponos' #1 2v2 pairing against Nova Esports' #1 pairing. And Nova just took that game by the horns and slammed Ponos into the ground. I still can't believe it, but what I can believe is the next matchup is going to be Kicks versus Fav. Fav are on a bit of a rebound lately. Will it be enough to take them over Kicks, who are currently 3rd in the table? Fav really do need another win this season. They do need to reach that 5-win mark. They are currently 4-7. Just below them is Team Timing at 4-8, and TTG, who are 3-8.
And because Team Timing gets 1 win, which we're not playing today, by the way, they're playing next week. But if they get 1 more win, Fav, if they record another loss today, Fav will be going down to 7th place. So need the win. Kicks, they have a chance of going into 2nd place, but with a Nova win that just happened in the previous match, it seems like that's sort of moving away from them.
Well, they do still have a game in hand over Nova, so if they win today, it'll put them 7-4.
Yes, and Kicks, they have 3 more to go. So next week we have 3 days because we have more matches. We have more matches to finish. But Kicks, they're playing every single day, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Yeah, they got to finish off that matchup, but this is going to be a good one. Kicks 2-1 last time round. Kicks' 1v1 has relied very heavily on Light. Very, very heavily. The rest of the team kind of needs to step up and make like a name for themselves. But their 2v2 pairing of Icelaw and Light has been a bit of a revelation, because I don't know about you, G-Clef, but I was expecting Benzer and JTV to be that main 2v2 pairing for Kicks over these two, Light and Icelaw. And then Jack and Katassian coming out for Fav Gaming.
I think that might be the strategy going into playoff. You never know. Maybe Kicks is just going to stay with Icelaw Light forever. They only need one great duo for the entire season.
Well, in 2v2 sets, Icelaw and Light are currently 4-5. In terms of game score, they are 12 wins, 11 losses. Their last loss was against WEDGM. They did lose 0-2 to Talon, and their last win was against AUK and D-King. And that was just the second half of this season. And the bands, NATO Band, Balloon Band.
It's been a while. We had NATO Band.
Yeah, it feels like weeks. But I know it was like last... We didn't have a NATO Band yesterday, right? So it was last week.
Too many band cards. I believe last week. But Balloon Band is a smart choice. At least taking out one of those combinations out of the way. The Balloon was about week 4 or 5, and maybe into even 6, where Balloon was being used by everyone in 2v2. But we sort of moved away from Balloon and went more into the solid Graveyard Freeze with another win condition. Sometimes Balloon, some with Ram, and what we just had was combined with an RG from Nova.
Yeah, that RG Graveyard that we just saw Nova bring. Would that kind of change the way you would approach your 2v2 after you see how dominant that was? Would you think we can do that?
It depends. Now that there's a tornado ban, your giant skeleton is still allowed, but it's not going to be as powerful when you don't have the tornado to bring that death damage in with everything around it. So I think it depends on what you practiced. For the week, FOB Gaming do like to go a lot more baity, cheaper cycle compared to everyone else.
Yeah, the last time Jack and Katashian played, they did play Graveyard Mega Knight, and then the other player was carrying Graveyard Valkyrie. There was Baby Dragon, Dark Prince was thrown in there, Bomb Tower Log, and then they played double Lava Hound in their second game as Jack and Katashian. And Kicks, Isolar and Light, they did play double Expo last week, but that was with the Musketeer Giant Skeleton ban. I don't know if we'll be seeing that today.
Breaker Miner 2v2.
Right. Okay. Miner Wallbreaker is a very interesting choice in 2v2 because there's a potential for having 2 sets of buildings. There's lots of logs, like if both players carrying a log. Those skeleton dragons also deal. It's going to be hard for those to ever get to the tower.
And whenever they take any type of splash damage, very unlikely they will connect to tower. So mostly Kicks there relying on the minor damage and also some pull of those defensive cage from FOB.
Inferno Tower is a nice answer to the RG that FOB are bringing, but it didn't connect onto the RG, but no hits whatsoever there.
Yeah, with that Lumberjack going down a little later. He did help FOB a lot.
I was going to say, there's not a lot of elixir there for Kicks to stop this giant skeleton from getting to the tower. Will this Fisherman hook? Oh, can you imagine if he turned around to just walk to the tower there? That would have been deadly.
Also, you don't want to use the tower for just a giant skeleton and somewhat damaged Fisherman. So this is super real cheap cycle for Kicks.
I mean, that cheap cycle, it's real difficult to get into the tower. These wall breakers going to go towards that cage. So they're not going to get in at all. Will they load up on a second set of wall breakers on that right-hand side? Would be risky. Ooh, Ewiz. Lightning comes down. Logs back, but still the raged up RG gets another hit. 1772 on that tower. How are Kicks going to get in on that tower? How are they going to get damage dealt here? Wall breakers are good, but the cage is even better.
The cage is going to catch the wall breakers almost every single time. Even without the cage, there are so many other tools. Log, snowball. Here comes the RG push again with the giant skeleton, this time with that Inferno, with no E-Wizard.
Yeah, but Kicks, they do put that miner at the back to assassinate the Musketeer of FOB. That was a nice little move there, well defended. Is this go time? Can they get something to connect? The RG, the Lumberjack and the Giant Skeleton are the answers here. And that is shut down again.
Yeah, with this cheap cycle. Oh! Just almost.
They played with fire there and they did almost get burned. Miner getting some more damage in on that top right. 1536. Kicks do have the lead here. Lightning comes down on top of that Inferno. It is shut down. RG is healed up from the Heal Spirit. It gets another shot and another RG loaded at the bridge. Is this going to be too much for Kicks to handle? It's looking like it might be the case. RG gets another hit. It's still very healthy. And that is tower down. Eventually, FOB just overwhelmed that super light defense of Kicks. And they take the victory.
Which was unusual by Kicks. When you have that much of a cheap cycle, relying mostly on minor damage, which requires you to do little at a time, which means you need perfect defense every single time. One RG shot equals to maybe like 4 or 5 minors.
But I don't think they were expecting Fav to be bringing a lightning, because that really did prove key against that Inferno Tower. Because if that Inferno Tower stays up, that RG is out of there real early on. It does not get half as many hits. And then the second RG loaded up would have been distracted probably long enough for them to cycle back. But you just see how starved of elixir they are. All those small units throwing them in to try and defend that, and they just had nothing left. Nothing to be able to do it.
And also eWizard, there was a time where they where Kicks, they could have taken one less RG and had enough elixir for the tower, but just could not put it down because right behind the RG and the giant skeleton, there was a Electro Wizard.
It never really came into play, and I think they would have sniped it if it was getting close to the Inferno Tower, because they did put that miner in the one push right behind the push into the Musketeer.
So do you like that Inferno Tower choice out of all other buildings? That's the reason why we see Cage and more use of Cage these days, and some with the Bomb Tower.
Yeah, Bomb Tower and Inferno Tower, I think, are equivalent exchange. I think one or the other is fine. Bomb Tower, if you're expecting maybe something a little swarmier, I think the Inferno Tower was a good choice. I just think Fav bringing the lightning kind of ruined that nice little touch. You know what I mean? Like, Kicks have a nice touch. They bring the Inferno Tower. If Fav didn't have that lightning, it would have been a pro move. We'd have been talking about how effective it was as a choice. But because of the lightning of Fav, because they brought that big, heavy lightning spell, it just made the Inferno Tower insignificant.
Which was very likely that without Tornado there will be other spells, and we are seeing Rise of Lightning, especially since Sunday last week and yesterday.
Has kind of come into the flavor of the month, Lightning. It kind of faded out at the beginning of the season. We'd see more fireballs, more, you know, more of those kind of mid-range spells. We weren't really seeing much rocket, we weren't really seeing much lightning, but now as we're getting later and towards the end of the season, lightning is coming back in fashion.
And because of so many Musketeers, Cage, Brawlers, they all go down.
Especially paired with that RG. Well, we'll see what Game 2 has in store. Will we see the double minor wall breaker again from Kicks, or will they switch it up? And will Fav Gaming bring double RG? We'll see what is going on here, and we see already a change of pace as the skeleton barrel does get in, but Lug easily cleans that. Ooh, double barrel. Shut down Ken there.
And off all the way to the right, even with the Tornado Ban. And the Dark Goblin, in this case when the log is already used, it's gonna have a good time.
Yeah, unfortunately though, the death damage of the giant skeleton kind of ruins that good time. But it isn't a bad exchange, and look how much elixir Kicks are sitting on. They're feeling pretty right now. Will this continue throughout the game? Will they be able to get damage into those towers? Because right now Fav do have a lot of answers for these barrels, and I say that, but that Goblin barrel got a ton of damage in. 2066 on that tower, remaining in a Hog Rider from Fav. And a mini P.E.K.K.A. Talking about cards going out of favor, Mini P.E.K.K.A. hasn't really been played much this season at all.
A nice block with the Heal Spirit there from Fav. Mini P.E.K.K.A. is a pretty good addition. I do like to say, instead of having P.E.K.K.A., which is very heavy, you want to cycle through for your barrels. Mini P.E.K.K.A. will be chopping lots of Musketeer and those giant skeletons.
I think they're going to save that mini P.E.K.K.A time and time again for the Hog Rider, because it is one of the better answers to the Hog Rider coming in.
Bomb tower.
Bomb tower is there to distract everything into the center. We see the Dark Goblin is going to get EQ'd out of there. Snowball on top too, but the Hog Rider gets nothing.
A great set of lots of spell exchange by both teams there. EQ, Snowball, and more.
Again, crafty Goblin from that barrel gets another hit in 1868, and this is going to be another set of hits. It is 1769 on that tower.
Just one more stab as the Musketeer and the Bomb Tower block all the shots.
If I can play behind this giant skeleton, there is the Bomb Tower. Hog Rider absolutely annihilated there. Another Hog coming on the opposite side. Snowball to push it into the Bomb Tower. That was a super nice move. Iceberg to just slow it down. Mini P.E.K.K.A to clean it up. Kix' defensive flow in this match is absolutely unreal to watch.
And Snowball heals Spirit. Great defense by Fob again. Still taking a lot of those.
Mini P.E.K.K.A. Mini P.E.K.K.A almost got it.
Did reach the tower, but not the shot.
It wound up and unfortunately just shut down in its prime. That Mini P.E.K.K.A does not go coast to coast. Barrel comes in. Perfectly timed there. That Dark Goblin. Nice and easy. Cleaning everything up.
We'll just go down to a shot from the giant skeleton. But more damage has been put in by Kix. And they are going to start to do more. There's a freeze. Now the Hog gets one. Second shot.
Yeah, unfortunately the Mini P.E.K.K.A decided to take the long way around to something that was right under his nose. And another shot does get in. There is the Goblin Barrel. Comes in, poison is down. Skeletons instantly snowballed away. The Dark Goblin is going to be distracted so he doesn't get any shots. Another Goblin Barrel comes in, and that's another set of hits. And another 517 there. Freeze comes down, but the death damage might just be enough. I don't think they needed that log and snowball there. I think the death damage would have easily cleaned that up. But the Mini P.E.K.K.A there getting some extra value with one extra shot against the Hog Rider. But they decide to let it go. One extra Hog Rider hit comes in. And suddenly this is very, very close.
With some more damage from the giant skeleton barrel there. Talking about the final spell damage. EQ, those gun poison is keep on happening on top right.
Double Hog. Is it gonna be enough?
Please.
That's a lot of stuff right there.
Fireball, Snowball, everything coming down to the final tick of EQ, and Bob takes the second game. So wins for red side only so far in 2v2 today.
It was, prematurely cutting away.
Please, just a few more seconds of that ceremony, please.
Too slow. The defense was so good for Kix, but it felt like at some point they were just, okay, let's finish this. And we've seen that patience time and time again does win out games. And I feel like they're a little impatient there trying to get that one finished, especially as it ran into that triple elixir period.
And the EQ actually did a lot. The defense was actually solid, but whenever the freeze came down, at an unexpected timing from Bob, was at least one or couple of shots from the Hog Rider.
EQ right there and a freeze again. That Hog Rider didn't get anything, but there was a lot of extra spell usage there. There was the lock and snowball that didn't need to come down. I don't think it would have won them the game had they not done that, but that extra elixir might have been nice to help defend. And there you go, Fireball, Snowball, and EQ finishes it off with just a few seconds left. That was very, very close in that 2v2. And I might have to eat my words because on Twitter there was a Kix fan who was like, Fav are going to win 2-0. And I was like, I just responded, hashtag Kix win, but now it's not feeling so good. I don't know how I feel. This is my team, and that 2v2 looked great, though. That was some good defense. I do question the minor wall breaker in game one.
Minor wall breaker, yes. With quicker cycle, I think it requires another level of teamwork when you're having that quick of a cycle. Like baits, you just throw it down and see what happens because it's more up to the defending players. You do have the mind games in between, But for the wall breaker deck, it's more of a defensive teamwork with your own teammate. That's what matters the most. And then some placement and the mind games of miner mostly. Wall breakers, let's just assume it will never connect because of a cage, and there will always be a building.
Yeah, 2v2 there is always a building, so the miner wall breaker decision has me questioning some things.
Yeah, so I think they were Icelaw and Light. They were really confident that their defense can be solid and near 100% with barely scratches from anything. And if they run into miner matchup, then they can have a better time with their wall breaker miner. Because wall breakers are going to soak some arrow damage from the princess, which allows extra 1-2 hits from the miner, which allows you to take the lead and go forth from that point on. But certainly did not work against Giant Skeleton RG deck, right?
It was, yeah, double RG, double Giant Skeleton. Okay, we move into the King of the Hill player standings. And you can take a look here. Yuya, 45. Light, 53. Benzer, 58% now. That's a massive improvement for him right now. And then on the opposite side, we have 3 players at 50% and higher. Jack, Hajime, and Expo Master. It is good. Kensa Meshi coming out in 1v1.
Yeah, heard some news that Kensa Meshi is from the last tournament that just finished. Hit top 10.
I mean, no doubt he's an amazing 1v1 player, but when it comes to professional games, we only really ever see this guy
play Golem.
In 2v2, playing 2v2. For those who don't know, the Golem name is because his Twitter handle is Golemeshi.
Yeah, forever now. Forever.
So we have not seen Kensa Meshi this half of the season. The last time we saw him was against Talon in the first half, and that was back when Kitashin and Kensa Meshi were still playing in those 2v2 sets, and they did lose that game 1-2 to Line and One Crown. Their last win in 2v2 for Kensa Meshi was 2-1 against Nova Esports, LCUp, and Little Chen. Yuya has also been kind of absent this season, this second half of the season. He's only played 1 game against Higher in the King of the Hill, and that was a loss. His last win was against KK of Ponos.
And guess what? Kensa Meshi finished 10th. If my memory is correct, Yuya finished 4th. Oh, and a Night Witch.
Is it gonna be Golem?
Or Lava?
Well, we saw Lava earlier. With the Ewiz, I'm gonna... I don't know.
With the Ewiz, like with an Inferno or Barbarians, we're gonna have better idea. Ewiz Fireball. What are you feeling, Simon?
Night Witch Ewiz Fireball.
Are you getting that rocky smell at all? No.
I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't think it's going to be Golem from Kensa Meshi with this.
With the Fisherman.
I think it's Lava. So Night Witch played at the back, slowly going to be building up those bats as it crosses over the bridge. From Yuya, though, it is looking like Graveyard with the Skeleton Dragons instead of that Baby Dragon as the switch there. Poison kind of confirms that. Last time out we saw him against Higher, he did play Royal Giant. So we'll see how this switch up helps him along.
But it's Kensa Meshi. Just having second thought. I'm just doubting myself what it can be. Going down my list of golems. That's the thing. There are some fishermen with Night Witch.
There is, and the fact that he's waited this long does make me think it might be Rocky Boy. But there's a part of me that's like, it doesn't make that much sense. Great fireball in there. Night Witch survives to live another day. Are they going to throw a tank in front? Kensa Meshi decides no. Had the Elixir 4, it was sitting very pretty up.
Yeah, there was a timing. But he could have put that golem up front.
I still think it's oh, it's Giant. Okay, it is going to be the Giant Night Witch then. Giant is going to struggle to get through these barbarian huts. Shut down in its prime right there. Gone way too soon. Especially, he's going to struggle in this. Good fireball value, though. That was a lot of units, but does take damage into his tower. And it looks like Yuya has the matchup advantage here. There's finally a graveyard. His fireball in hand. It is currently, there it is. That's a nice cleanup. Poison comes down as well. That's going to just make the Night Witch's life an absolute living nightmare. And that tower goes down to 1146. It is not looking good for Kensameshi's first game in 1v1 of the season.
Now coming down with the Giant, he waited this long because of the hut. And finally the Miner, the final card, does come down. Not to snipe against the Musketeer though.
If it wasn't for that poison, that might have been a lot more damage, but Kensameshi is getting some hits into the tower, but that poison was just too much. Too much for the Night Witch, the Giant, to survive through. Here we go again, Giant up front.
Grabs the Musketeer, so that's an easier cleanup.
Nice fireball value there. Miner coming in down the back while the Giant is tanking. Not caught out, and this is how Kensameshi's going to win this, is if this Miner can keep getting a ton of damage, because Kensameshi kind of is holding real well until these graveyards come in. Ewiz is there. Night Witch isn't in the poison this time. That means her bats might be able to help out. Great fireball again for Kensameshi. But the damage keeps coming in. 828 remaining here. And that's a lot of stuff in that midsection of that bridge. The Giant barely is going to make it out alive.
Yeah, but this time Yuya's out without a hut. So the Giant goes straight in, lands a punch with the fireball damage.
And the Miner actually gets another hit into 492 remaining on that tower. Has Kensameshi done enough as we enter the last 10 seconds? Another Miner comes in, but is there anything for Kensameshi to defend this graveyard? Poison is down. Is it going to be enough? It just about is. Kensameshi gets the win against Yuya. Game 1 in this King of the Hill goes to Fav.
And 3.3 Miner, Giant Miner. And love the mind game in between. Just like Yuya also thought that Kensameshi was going to, because he waited so long for the Miner to be played, Yuya was placing the Knight right next to the Musketeer, thinking that the Musketeer is 100% coming towards them. The Miner is 100% coming towards that Musketeer to kill it first and then go to the tower damage with maybe Giant getting a punch or so. But he never went for the Musketeer, relying on Fisherman to pull that Musketeer, and Miner was always just tower damage.
And what we cannot do here is we cannot downplay the absolute value that Kensameshi was getting out of those fireballs. There were Barbarians, Musketeers, Knights, and the Skeleton Dragons underneath one huge fireball like that. I mean, you can dream about value like that, but it is very rare that you get it at this level of play, and Kensameshi managed to just push it in. I mean, think about this. That tower was at 2,300. Kensameshi's tower was like 1,200 at one point, and Kensameshi shut up shop. He started to defend the graveyards. He started to get those pushes coming through. Getting into the tower with the Giant was just the icing on the cake at that last push. One big punch is all it took to give him the lead. And I mean, Kensameshi played pretty well.
Yeah, even against the hut. The reason why he delayed that Giant attack so long is because of the hut timing. Or if you just send your Giant when the hut is pretty healthy, then it doesn't really become your own attack, which gives a big counter push option for your opponent.
Yeah, it fizzles out because like the Barbarians out the hut plus anything else around it will just delete it. And we get Light coming in the second spot here.
Yeah, that Giant deck can also be maybe next week for a brand new card.
The Electro Giant?
Electro Giant.
It'd be a bit too heavy, I think, if you put Electro Giant in there, but we'll see how it goes in the rest of the season. Light coming out has been the shining star for Kicks. Win percentage rate 55.6 in terms of games. In 1v1 only, including the best of threes, he's currently 65% win rate and sitting 4th in the overall 1v1 matchup tables. Last time out, Light played Ram Rider Mega Knight, has played RG Fisher, played Balloon Lumberjack. What do you think he's going to bring? And what do you think Kensumeshi is going to bring? Because Kensumeshi is a big question mark on this Valve team. We just don't really know what to expect out of him. There's no data, and that's probably why he's coming out here. Kicks don't have anything to look at in Kensumeshi's play and go, okay, so he's played this, 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 and this. Coming in so late in the season, Kensumeshi has a huge advantage.
They do know his playstyle, which is beat down, most likely, and Giant is also a lighter beat down version. Let's see what Light brings after watching game 1. Log again with Kensumeshi. So far the same 2 cards. And then we wait.
Yep, the opening exchanges fizzle into the night, and we get nothing. Heal Spirit, Barbaro, the last time we saw those 2 cards from Light, it was the Balloon Lumberjack. Of course, we do see Barbaro, Heal Spirit in Royal Giant decks. We see them in Graveyard decks. I mean,
see him in Royal Hogs, 3 Musketeers.
Everything, basically.
Sometimes even the Wall Breakers. Even E-Golem decks.
Don't start that. We don't need to hear about that. We've been a couple of weeks free of E-Golems, actually. We haven't seen one.
We've been E-Golem free region for a while.
I think the last time we saw it was Geralt. In like week 3, week 4.
Yeah, and another player a week before that. Maybe Reiki, I think. Shockingly enough, we would remember the names because they're playing E-Golems.
While we're waiting, let's take a look at a few. I don't think we've seen E-Golem in quite some time.
Recruits from Kensumeshi.
Musketeer from Light. It's still looking like it might be Lumberjack Loon for him. Buys a little bit of time. There are the Royal Hogs for Kensumeshi. Does catch a heal, but the Mega Knight. So it's not going to be Lumber Loon for Light this time. What is he pairing with that Mega Knight? He's going to have his own. It is going to be a Balloon, though. Nothing to stop that Inferno Dragon, but it does move out of range, so the Mega Knight remains healthy. The Musketeer isn't enough to bring that Inferno Dragon down before the Balloon goes down, though.
But the Mega Knight was still able to take some more damage. And putting down recruits here to force out a potential Mega Knight drop from Light. So that yep, he's not gonna bite it as the Royal Hog does not come.
Double Fisherman on the right here for Light.
Actually does
more damage than expected for sure.
About 400. Light again looking for a Balloon chance.
It's going to be difficult to find the timing, but the Balloon hasn't connected, and look how much damage he's managed to get in. I mean, surely he's not going to try and push it too hard. If he plays patiently, he wins this. We're down to the last 80 seconds.
Yeah, Light is being
gameplay.
Super cautious because of lacking a building card. He does not have the cage here because he does have a Fisherman.
So if you're Kensumeshi, do you start trying to split your Royal Hogs, knowing there's no building to pull them into the center?
Depends how much you want to bait with the recruits.
That's that's what he does. He does decide to split them 3 and 1, but again, only the 1 this time gets to the tower, and it is pulled and shot by the Musketeer. This balloon might actually find a way through. Good fireball. Is it gonna? Oh, it gets a heal spirit too. That's just out of shot. No Mega Knight, there it is. Does eventually come down. Those hogs completely shut down again here.
Good Skeleton Dragon. Now the Mega Knight will be pretty healthy. Light still has to defend the left, but he loads the balloon again.
Fisherman doing a great job of just holding the line there. And those Royal recruits are going to fall to the Skeleton Dragon. Balloon doesn't get close again, but the death damage might just be in range here. 200 extra in there. A Skeleton Dragon hit just for good measure. Fisherman pulls the Musketeer. That's not what she wants. Fireballs come in, and Light takes game 2. Very solid play from Light. Very, very defensive, very patient. Wasn't really trying to over-commit with those balloons. That's what we like to see.
And Kenzumeshi tried changing his cycle, at least his attack pattern, at least twice or more in this match. And Light was patient enough where he said, okay, I will leak some elixir. Unless you make the first move, I will not make anything, because my balloon is supposed to be sort of a surprise, sort of a counter after the Mega Knight. Mega Knight has to take the tank damage against the Musketeer, or else my balloon will not reach.
Yeah, here the double Fisherman on the right getting into the tower was enough to give it a very sizable lead. And then it was just a case of holding on. The split here kind of did work. He did at least get a hog to the tower for the first time in the game. The heal spirit as well tried to keep it alive, but unfortunately, Fisherman Musketeer is good enough to shut that down. That balloon came excruciatingly close with the heal spirit there, but just not enough.
There were lots of pretty good defensive fireball on both sides. But Kenzumeshi, I think he would be thinking that maybe I should have went a little bit more aggressive.
I feel like if he went a bit too more aggressive, he would have been a bit too open. I don't think he had really the tools or the cycle to get back around quick enough to apply pressure and try to catch an off timing. Like, I just don't think he could have got around quick enough to do that. It's just a really difficult matchup because you do have the Mega Knight. The Musketeer also deals with it. The Fisherman, if they do decide to split 3 and 1, the Fisherman will always pull the 1. It was a hard matchup for Kenzumeshi. He did what he could, but it just was not enough.
Yes, with the recruits, it's hard for both sides. When you drop anything heavy, it's a go sign for the opponent, either the balloon or the Royal Hogs. So both sides did have lots of interaction with their win condition and the tank card, which was recruits for Kenzumeshi. And also for Light, the Mega Knight, which can go against the recruits, but never you want that to happen because of those Royal Hogs coming right after when it drops. So Light ended up making better decision there, even lacking building card, but using that to his advantage, using the maximizing Fisherman damage.
And coming up next is Jack for FAV Gaming. Interestingly, I think that's the first time we have seen Light play MK Loon this season. Just quickly have another check here. Yeah, that's the first time he's played it. The other time he's played a Mega Knight was with the Royal Hogs. So that's possibly what Kenzumeshi was thinking. It was going to be the matchup, like a mirror matchup, both players playing Royal Hogs. Light bringing the balloon was a great choice, but going against Jack is going to be a much tougher challenge for Light.
Still tied 1-1. Sure, after Light it's Benzer, but Light is feeling, after watching the game against Kenzumeshi, should be feeling pretty good, but Jack has been on a rise compared to the early section of the season. He's playing a lot better in form. Overall, not just his Royal Hogs, some of his balloon plays, and wondering if he's going to bring Hog EQ back.
Well, the last time these two teams met in the King of the Hill, Hajime did get the sweep against Kix. He took out Yuya, Benza, then Light. So what will we see? This is the first time these two have played against each other this season, if we're not including the 2v2. So let's see, who is going to take it? Jack or Light? Jack last time out was Hog EQ, and that's a deck that he is known for, but he has also played Expo. He played that against Haruki. He also played the Graveyard with the Barb Hut as well. All those games were against Talon in that sweep he got there.
Is this Royal log of Light? The Lumberjack answers my question. No. Cannon card and Bandit.
Possibly Ram Rider?
Yeah, we're talking bridge spam here.
We'll see. RG played for Jack, and there is the Ram Rider for Light. So it's going to be RG, and RG is just snared up just outside of range, but still gets 2, almost 3 shots in there. The Ram Rider is going to activate the King Tower. And I think that is going to be the end of that. Both players taking about equal chunks out of each other in the opening exchanges.
Activating the King Tower against the Ram Rider, it's not as bad, because mostly you're relying on lots of charge damage, dash damage from Bandit, and maybe some connection of Musketeer or Cannon, which is away from the King Tower. For Light, main problem is this RG.
Only has the Cannon card because he sent the Musketeer down on the left, which does make it very difficult. 4-5-5, absolute value out of that, but the Bandit, I thought it was going to get in. And again, shut down.
Block.
Light is in a lot of trouble right now as we enter the last 40 seconds of this game. Fireball comes in, that's going to clean that up. Heal Spirit even jumping in the action there, getting a hit.
That brings it down to lock Fireball range. Jack.
Fireball comes in, but is it... Oh, that cannon is just in range of the tower, I believe. Yes, it is. Bandit's going to get a charge in 2, and suddenly everything kind of got overwhelmed for Jack, but is it going to be enough? There's 15 seconds left. It's only going to take a Fireball on the log for Jack to finish this.
Jack just ended up using the Fireball, so Light needs to go now or never. It's a log pushing it out from the charge.
Oh, he gets the charge! But the RG is going to be real difficult to deal with, and I think that, as they say, is that Light takes a loss. Jack gets the win. Game 3 going to the way of Fav Gaming, and Fav have a chance of upsetting me massively by getting the win over Kix 2-0 in the day, but Jack still has a bit of work to do. Yuya went out to Kensameshi. Light then beat Kensameshi. Jack beats Light. Who comes out last for Kix? Is it going to be Benzer? Ice Law?
Maybe today's the day with Ice Law. It's a different pattern. Inactive roster from Kix.
I mean, that exchange there, sending the cycling the Musketeer at the back is kind of a risky-ish play, just because that can happen. That's 4 Elixir trotting off down the opposite lane, and then you're losing that to defend that RG that came from Jack. And that one mistake essentially cost him the game, because that was just so much damage from that RG off that one push.
But without a building card, usually we see either the Cannon and not both together, either Bandit or Cannon and with the cage. That's what I remember most with the Ram Rider deck, but because of having both, relying a lot more on the bridge push and some Bandit dash play. When you don't have a building, you just create a cycle where you take least amount of damage. It can't be perfect. It's got to be at least like 1-2 connection from the RG, but to counter it on the same side or the other side with some better damage.
Well, that's why he tried with the Lumberjack Musketeer. As it was going on a journey down that left-hand side, he was trying to do that And then it got fireballed, so it didn't really make a difference. I think defending that RG a little bit better with the Musketeer. It is going to be Benzer in that last spot. Would have given Light probably the win overall, because we saw later on in the exchanges that the Ram Riders were getting through. Bandit got a hit. I mean, there was a possibility there.
There's a reason why it's called.
The tower.
There's a reason why it's called bird spam.
Because she spammed.
You just spam it, go, and with some better synergy and combination with some spells, you make it work. But in this case, Jack was ready with an RG, and he's about to close the match for Fob Gaming.
Unless, of course, we get a hot streak Benzer, which has kind of been the case. In his last few games, he's got nothing but W's. Did lose to Hire in his last one, but beat Wonga just before that. He beat Blizzard, Gero, Line. And then he did lose to LCOP, and then the L's start to begin. But he's a player that kind of streaks a lot. He's a very streaky kind of player. And he has kind of had this run of form that's been pretty impressive. He's started to get wins on the board. He clawed his way back up to a 50% win rate. Right now he's at 53% overall in 1v1s. So maybe that turning point, all those early losses have built to a Benzer that can beat Jack. I think this is only the second time in the history of CRL that Benzer has played Jack. I think the first time they played was Special Season last season. It was the first time Benzer beat Jack. It might have been the first time they played.
Jack brings wall breaker. For sure, wall breaker minor.
Will Benzer be able to get the best of these opening exchanges? Musketeer play deep at the back, and Minor goes down the opposite side. The wall breakers are there, and it's a similar thing that we just saw happen to Light, where you cycle that Musketeer at the back, and Jack just smells blood in the water and goes the opposite direction. No fireball this time to take that Lumberjack Musketeer off the board that we saw last time round. Unfortunately, raged up Musketeer gets 2 shots in.
A lot of damage. Using Love to keep that Musketeer alive and keeps 2 shots.
Benzer throws out the good game super early here.
A very aggressive play from both players, as they know that they have to cycle through lots of minor play.
That's how you defend a Musketeer with a snowball taking 0 damage. Just push it back a little bit. And here are the wall breakers. Cage is good. What are you thinking Benzer's pairing up with the Lumberjack here?
There are a few more RG decks with Lumberjack going around.
Oh, Lumberjack's gonna get nothing. All right. Very, very close to a hit there. But again, Jack is just getting the better of these exchanges. 1308 on the tower. The Miner's gonna get in as well, but the Musketeer instantly turns around to start wailing on him. 1164. Skeleton Dragon at the top getting a couple more hits.
Yeah, but with the snowball, you always have a feeling that it's going to be blue.
We'll see what he decides to do. Benzer surely would have played something already, but the Miner again. Once things are cycled to the back, he goes down that lane. There's the balloon. Lumberjack is good. Everything for Benzer is piled on this right-hand side.
One of the wall breakers connects for Jack. Less than 300 left. Now Benzer has to connect this balloon.
I don't think it's going to connect. I think that's it. That's the end of the game. Benzer falls and Fob Gaming take it. Very similar scoreline, exactly the same scoreline as we saw the Nova game. 2-0 overall. Jack gets the last 2 members of Kicks. He took out Light and Benzer. And Fob Gaming get a much needed win and continue their upward trend of getting these wins.
Again, Jack showing up to the plate today. Surprisingly enough, Benzer not bringing a win, of course, will be a big shock to a lot of the fans and also for Kicks. But what a day for FOB Gaming. Their 2v2 was solid, and these kind of aggressive play with the log.
It just, yeah, every time Benzer put something at the back, Jack went opposite lane with the miner. When, like, I think it was as soon as Jack saw that commitment coming down that right-hand side, he went in for the jugular. That's when the wall breakers.
So I think here when that left bottom tower was going down regardless, so keeping the snowball to attack onto Musketeer would have let blue connection. I think there was a potential that he could go into second crown game, but regardless, FOB Gaming takes the win. Jack is your MVP. We are left with one more match for the night. TTG versus Talon.
Welcome back. It has been a very one-sided day. Red team winning both games so far. 2-0, 2-0. Done in
6 games.
6 games. It has been one of the quickest nights I think we've seen. I was expecting an absolute bloodbath game 1. Game 2 was not expecting it to go that way. Let's hope game 3 is a lot closer, because so far today it has been a walk for Red team.
So far, but this matchup, I don't think we're going to walk home early anytime soon, because this matchup, both teams looking for that one win, which they have not found in a very, very long time, at least for 2 weeks. I think both of the teams.
The last time Talon won, I think, was a week ago. Oh no, they haven't won this half of the season. Yeah, neither team have no wins in the white. So we have our sheets separated. Green is for the first half of the season. White is for the second half. There's nothing in the win column for either of these teams. TTG came real close yesterday on the back of Boss's sweep. Real close. The 1v1 unfortunately did not go their way. Talon, on the other hand, they're sinking. They got a lot of results early in the season. They got a lot of wins. But since then, it's been all losses.
Yeah, both teams 4 losses in a row.
Yeah, but one of them has to get a win now. One team is going to enter a 5-loss streak. The other is finally going to get a much-deserved win. If somehow this ends in a complete draw, that would be amazing, but very very unlikely / impossible.
Yeah, I can't watch this. Yeah, prepare some napkins, guy, at the end of this match.
Someone's going to be going home crying. Based on current run of form, who do you think is going to lose?
I think GT lose. I'm leaning towards TTG of winning, taking the victory of this match.
Thanks for reframing the question in a positive way. I think TTG as well, based on yesterday's performance, and they now have Paradox back. So Paradox's 1-match suspension was served. He took it yesterday. He's back today. Will we get to see him play?
I think
Surely.
TTG, they need Paradox in either King of the Hill or in also 1v1.
But we already know what Talon's lineup is going to be.
Yeah, Line Long Crown.
Geralt, Line, Blizzard.
Yeah, Geralt, Line, Blizzard.
Some order.
In some Blizzard, Geralt, Line, or Geralt, Line, Blizzard.
That is one of the problems that I think both these teams have found themselves in towards the end of the season, is that they're just a little bit too predictable in terms of lineups.
Yes.
Look at the stats.
But if they're solid, like Team Timing was doing okay.
Well,
With just 2 men.
Team Timing are in a very similar situation right now, where they just kind of have been sold. And their current run of wins shows it. Talon too. TTG. They did bring in Radish, who has appeared one time and then disappeared off the face of the earth.
We'll see him on camera.
Oh, that was WEDG. I'm sorry. I meant Huyi. So Huyi comes in and is barely played. He was dropped out of 2v2 really early on, and then we had Noah Misa and Famous Kid play quite a few games. I mean, it's not looking good for either team. TTG, I think Paradox was a great pickup. Boss is a good pickup. Famous Kid, that's who I'm looking for. Famous Kid has kind of disappeared off the face of the earth. He's just up and vanished.
He was playing 2v2 with Neomitsu.
I mean, his stats aren't even that bad in King of the Hill. I mean, he has played... The last time we saw him was against Ponos, Random Reiki, where they lost 0-2. Yeah, Famous Kid just seems to have disappeared off the face of the earth, and to no one's surprise, it is going to be Line and 1 Crown of Talon in the 2v2.
One day, maybe the last day, might have Geralt playing 2v2.
I thought you were going to say it's going to be Line and Blizzard on the last day, and they're just going to turn out to be like the best 2v2 pairing we have ever seen.
Like LCF and AUK?
better. All right, it's going to be Expo and Balloon Band here. Taking a very respectful Expo Band against Talon because they are very good at it when it comes to 2v2, but there's surely better bands that you can do.
Yes, but I believe it was Nova against Talon that then they just banned out Expo about a week ago.
Double check that for you.
I believe that was the match.
It was
And
Nova
then-
Talon. Nova banned out Expo.
Yes.
And won 2-0.
For once, my memory is correct.
It is indeed.
And then Nova just took it down.
Yeah, with Ram Riders and Lava Hounds. I don't know what we're going to see in this one, though. 2 win conditions banned that don't really affect as many decks as, you know, like a Fireball ban or a Musketeer ban. The decks affected number is very high. Banning out Expo affects exactly 1 deck. And banning out Balloon, I don't know how I feel about the bans this time round. I feel like too much is open. You're not really sure what you're going to be playing against.
Yeah, I think both teams sort of expected a spell ban from the opponent. But this is what we have: Expo ban, Balloon ban. Talon surely their Expo 2v2, I believe, had 100% win rate. 2 out of 2.
Let's see what happens in this one. Just kind of feeling each other out. In terms of set score, Talon are 7-4 in 2v2. Game score 16-12. Whereas Nuamisa and Hui are 1-4 in terms of sets, 4-8 in terms of game score.
Okay, immediate graveyard, the defensive poison from Talon now. Got some recruits over the board, limiting the graveyard damage to about 300.
Was that a little bit too much too early on the side of TTG? It's a big spend. Fisherman does get into the tower. Does quite a bit of damage, 2054 remaining there. But it was a big spend putting down a graveyard that early.
More damage done by Talon because of that play.
And here comes a graveyard. Again, this time though, it's looking like this might be a bit more successful. The luck comes in, the Musketeer at the back is trying its hardest to clean this up. And it does 1792.
Again, doing a couple of hundreds, but still before double elixir time, you can't really have Tornado, you can't really have another poison. That's too much elixirs to use.
So double graveyard on the side of TTG. What are... Okay, it is going to be graveyard for Talon too. The Inferno Tower is played there, and that's just going to chew down that giant skeleton. And next to nothing getting done from that graveyard with a well-timed defensive poison.
Graveyard didn't do anything at all, but just a splash from the Baby Dragon.
Talon played an aggressive poison there after the graveyard had already gone. And after TTG decided to put down their graveyard. Questionable decision there. Poison didn't really get much done.
Yes.
Took the Musketeer off the board, but
Talon, they had too much elixir. Just wanted to cycle the poison.
But wouldn't it have been better to cycle it on top of your opponent's graveyard that's coming in? I mean, it feels a bit rough, but we'll see how it plays out in the long run. Double giant skeleton on that right, and there is the RG. So it is RG graveyard coming in. There are a lot of bodies right there. Freeze comes down. That RG is going to make light work of that, plus the death damage is going to clean everything up, and that's RG's going to get 1, possibly 2.
Oh, second shot comes through, even with that defensive lock from TTG. Needs to turn this around. Arrows,
no
some
elixir,
damage.
no elixir for the poison right now for Talon, but they don't need it. The Baby Dragon plus the Skeleton Dragons is enough to clean that up and hold it back. 1098 remain on their tower, 762 on TTG's. And the Baby Dragon tanking for this push.
Again, defensive poison from Talon now with Musketeer.
Some hits are coming through. 669. Is TTG going to be able to unbalance the scales here? Tip it into their favor. Defensive poison used.
And with nothing else taking the Prince's shots, just one, two skeleton damage there.
There's 6-1, there's the Inferno Tower. That Graveyard's going to make it hard for Talon to throw down the freeze, but TTG throw down their own freeze. I think that might be
that could have been really good, but the defensive poison was there.
But the second Graveyard might be a little bit too much to handle. Arrows come in. Is it going to get any damage on the tower? It is not. Poison comes down, but there's still a little bit of life left in that tower. Freeze! TTG take game one.
Just forces a win with remaining spell. Just put everything down. Freeze damage, another poison for the last tick. Talon was about to grab their win with the RG push.
Yeah, plus the freeze Graveyard that was already down there. It was very close. Dying seconds of that game, but TTG, Nuamisa, and Huyi managed to put up enough of a fight for the blue side to finally get a win in 2v2 tonight.
I think this is sort of the answer against the Graveyard freeze. Defensive poison is the best. Even if you're putting units down, or some big or light units down, might be taken away from the offensive poison, and the freeze is going to catch him. So poison, defensive poison, I think it's one of the cheaper way of solving that problem.
So a couple of hits come through. There's the RG. This RG gets nothing, right?
Yes.
So that Graveyard there forces Talon not to put down the aggressive freeze to stop the Inferno Tower from eating the RG.
And pushes one more through with Dark Prince.
No, Misa absolutely screaming at Huyi. Was it just the freeze?
Freeze and the last tick of poison, I believe.
Okay, I thought poison had already finished. That's why I was like, oh wait, that tower does pop down. Okay, game 2 will shortly be here. The bans are Expo and Balloon, which puts everything else on the table. What do you think they're going to bring? Do you think it's going to be RG Graveyard again for Talon? Do you think they're going to bring something else?
Both teams might just be trying similar things.
Double Graveyard, double Graveyard.
I think Talon has more options in terms of what they can offer it from their 2v2 compared to TTG, who's relying a lot more on standard. Today they're having some better play with the Graveyard, but I think both of the teams kind of solved. At least they have solved one big question: what do we do against Graveyard freeze? This poison might actually be thinking double poison to go for the second game if they are keeping that Graveyard win condition.
But going double poison and your opponent doesn't go for a Graveyard kind of puts you in a very tenuous position. Like, it can be very difficult to continue, especially if they bring something baity, if they bring something a little bit heavier too. Double poison isn't great against fireball bait, obviously, because you don't have a fireball. So running double poison in 2v2 sounds like a good idea, but you need to know beforehand if your opponent's going Graveyard, and without that knowledge, it's a huge risk.
So instead of focusing on the ground, going air with the lava, but instantly Talon loads up. And Skeleton RG.
Yeah, the RG is going to be pulled into the center. Nothing really to stop that from happening. And RG shut down with no damage done. And in the skies, I mean, there is a lot here for TTG. That's 2 full health baby dragons. That's a lava hound that's just popped. Luckily, the death damage is there from the bomb tower, and 2072 remain. Now, that was more damage than I think they were hoping for.
Still with the bomb tower and the death damage. Kept most of those air units down. And not a bad push for TTG to have a great start with the lava. Soon enough, it will be double lava. We've seen what happened yesterday. How powerful the lava decks can be without the balloon.
Behind this, that's going to start chunking away at that giant skeleton. Lightning comes in. That lava hound is actually going to just feast on that tower, and it's going to continue the fireball to get rid of it. I think the flying machine's also connected. No, it's connected to the giant skeleton.
Just before it reaches the tower. Pups.
A couple of them turn around. 3 of them turn around onto the tower, each getting another hit. 8, 8, 9. And Talon are in a real bad spot right now, because it's only just reached double elixir time.
Talon, they need a massive, crazy value tornado with their giant skeleton.
But the problem is there's nothing to stop the giant skeleton underneath where the lava hound is. That's why they're relying on these bomb towers instead of the giant skeletons, because they have nothing on the ground that will stop the giant skeleton and get it in a good position when it dies.
So Talon's going to force another set of attack. Giant skeleton graveyard on the right, responded with the barbarians, flying machines, so the skeletons are not going to last long.
Yeah, Talon kind of had to go all in here because there's just too much barreling down, but that might even be too much continuing on. This might be a 3 crown for TTG. It's definitely going to be the win, but is it going to be the 3 crown? It's probably not right now, and that, as they say, is that. And again, the 2v2 finishes in just 2 games. TTG a bit too dominant for line on 1 crown today.
When Musketeer is not banned, having a flying machine and also lightning becomes a better tool because of all those anti-air, which is basically Musketeer. And when you're getting those shots, that lightning from the sky to immediately incinerate those Musketeers off the board. Like take those 2 Musketeers out of the way from the right. There's no anti-air. Just spells. A baby dragon. It's not.
Skeleton dragons too. I mean, there's still some, but you're right. Like you take the Musketeer out and there's just not enough to deal with it. Like you kind of want something like the Inferno Dragon. You want something kind of heavy in the sky to at least distract, but yeah, they didn't have anything. The bomb tower would have been better placed if it was a Inferno tower, because it would have at least chunked down those lava hounds, but as it is, the bomb tower just stopped the push from coming over, and it doesn't even do a great job of that either. It takes a lot, but it doesn't deal anything. And there are 2 lava hounds. I mean, what could Talon do here? They decided to go all in down the right, but against Barbs, the graveyard, even the flying machine helping out occasionally and then turning around and just wandering off on its own.
Talon, they needed some massive tornado work or a critical freeze timing to get even 1 crown. Yeah, but TTG, they were many steps ahead already in that game.
There was nothing that Talon could do. I think that was just a straight deck win for TTG. They played it flawlessly, but that was just one of the easiest wins I think TTG have ever had. No Misa and Huyi, that was easily the easiest win I think I've ever seen them get.
Yep, that's 2v2. Now, Talon was, in terms of win rate and comparing the history and record for the season, Talon was supposed to take 2v2. And going down to TTG for King of the Hill, and maybe going into that 1v1. That was my guess coming into this matchup, but with that 2 wins, with these 2 wins from TTG for 2v2, now Talon is going to struggle.
That is the first set win TTG have got in 2v2 the second half of the season. The very first one. Out of 5 games, they finally get a win. And it is going to look good because their King of the Hill record isn't terrible. They do perform. Boss now 53%, No Misa 53%. Paradox is up there. I kind of missed that. I got it at 56, but that includes 1v1. And yeah, if you were looking at the end of that 2v2, you may have seen a spoiler who was coming out for TTG because No Misa remained on the stage. And it's going to be against Geralt. Well, probably probably the matchup we were expecting. Geralt coming out first. Doesn't have the greatest of records, 5 and 10 in King of the Hill. 33% win rate there. Of course, this data that you're looking at now includes also the special season, which is why the numbers are greatly higher.
Yeah, but Yomitsu to start up from TTG, who is usually the last in terms of King of the Hill. Maybe they do want to mix the roster up a little bit more with Paradox today.
Well, I mean, they've got a great King of the Hill if their form kind of kicks in, because you could have No Misa Paradox Boss or No Misa Boss Paradox.
Or Famous Kid.
Again, we haven't seen him for a while. I don't know where he is.
Only once in the second half against WDGM, where Famous Kid did show up in King of the Hill.
Well, it's Nugomisa versus Geralt up now, and starting with those Spear Goblins. Probably Mortar, Skeleton Barrel for Nugomisa. With the Mortar. Nope, it's going to go Miner. Geralt goes Night Witch. Is it going to be Night Witch Giant? Is it going to be Night Witch Miner? Okay, Balloon, Ice Golem. Going down the left-hand side, but the Inferno Dragon is going to clock that Balloon first. And I think that means it's not going to get a drop. The Ice Golem also isn't going to get a hit. Just the death damage from both coming in on that tower.
Yeah, if that's Snowball, I think there was a chance.
So it is Night Witch Lava Hound for Geralt here. He might struggle to deal with these miners because he doesn't really have anything light enough to catch it time and time again. So he's got to make this big push work. Bomb Tower is there. That's going to snipe that Night Witch from behind.
It's a fireball. I was thinking because we weren't seeing a Zap. It was Bar Barrel already.
Musketeer decides to go on an adventure. Not even trying to get rid of that Night Witch, and that might just put Nomisa in a pretty bad spot. Luckily, the bomb tower is going to die, and all those pups are going to disappear with it, but that tower is dead.
Yeah, but still, before going down, Miner was already there. You don't even need the Zap.
Well, I don't think Nuamisa was expecting that tower to fall quite the way it did, but great execution by Geralt allows that to happen there. The Night Witch Fireball to push it back. Again, no damage in, but 1367 on that tower. It's still possible Nuamisa can get in and around and get that tower down, but it's going to be very hard with just 35 seconds remaining.
Yes, Nuamisa, he has to push all the way in. Can't really rely on the minor damage.
Yeah. Oh, the balloon got a drop. The balloon got a drop out of nowhere, and now this is game on.
Game on, but a pretty big push already from Nuamisa. Still trying to force another big hit. That's a pretty good fireball by Geralt.
The bats are getting quite a bit of damage in there. 13-13 on that tower, but Nuamisa might be able to nick this one the last second, but Geralt is applying pressure. Lava at the bridge. Skeleton Dragons behind it. One decides to ignore the Ice Golem. The Night Witch lost in the middle of nowhere. Miner going to town on the tower again. 856 remaining. Musketeer is there. It's going to be fireballed and barreled out of existence. Geralt playing out of his skin right now. Nightwish will finish that off. Geralt gets the first win for Talon in the King of the Hill.
With a pretty good matchup for Geralt there, as Nyomitsu, yeah, the Ice Golem right now in the meta doesn't serve too many roles. That's the problem.
Well, it used to be that it would start the conga line across, you know, your side of the river and have the towers just take pot shots, but the problem is there's just too much swarmy units, too many split push units right now, so it doesn't really work out all too well. He did get the balloon hit, Nomisa. He did manage to take a tower down, but spear goblins and a musketeer are not enough to defend against a lava hound. And this musketeer decided to take a little vacation.
I think if Nomisa didn't play the Ice Golem, the musketeer would have at least got a few of those bats and the Night Witch out of the way. The Ice Golem actually kept it out of distance from the musketeer, which was of course pushed by the fireball.
Yeah, right there you see Nomisa took a tower. It's not even on the replay, but I think it was this musketeer that gets deleted. This is real nice. Look at that. Oh, a fireball to give the perfect pushback away. You've already played the barrel. That's a flare play, that is. That's a flare play. And Boss? Oh, sorry, Paradox is coming out second. Okay, Paradox against Geralt. I think Paradox should be able to get this, but the curse of Red Team today, Red Team obviously getting all the wins so far, might be a little bit too strong.
Only 2 out of 2.
We'll see Paradox coming in. What is his results so far this season? He is currently 3-4 in King of the Hill. Last win was against Mugi, where he got two kills against Ponos. He took Mugi and Rad and did lose to KK. Just before that, he lost to Kitasi and Higher Sado and has beaten Greed as well.
Also had a pretty good win over Nuri in 1v1. But it's been some time.
Yeah, that was towards the tail end of last half of the season. And that was, I think, the last time TTG won was against Team Timing, yeah. So he was instrumental to winning that 1v1 best of 3. He also did get Greed out of the way and did end up losing to Sado. We'll see if he can get the win today against Geralt.
Well, I think he was running into pretty good matchups recently. And a lot of balloons are being played today and yesterday, especially with that Mega Knight balloon deck. I think balloon is one thing you do have to think about.
Yeah, Paradox has not played balloon this season in King of the Hill or 1v1s. Last time out against Radamugi, he did win with the minor wall breakers. We'll see if he decides to bring that against Geralt, or if he is going to throw a curveball and go for the balloon. Maybe throw something like barrels, because he hasn't really played Goblin Barrel, Skeleton Barrel at all this season.
Again, the minor. Not just perfect prediction.
Flying machine as well, probably meaning we're going to take to the skies. Fireball connects into cage. It is just over the river, so the Princess Tower will take that down.
Geralt. Seems to be another graveyard deck.
Very possibly.
Paradox's options are lava.
You said options and then just said
And
lava.
maybe a giant. But with the skeleton dragons, I sealed up my mouth.
So you're going
zipped across
100% lava?
Yes.
Yeah, now that you see it. Okay. So Lava Hound it is for Paradox. Lava Miner with a Night Witch as well. And Geralt bringing what looks to be a graveyard. Poison kind of does confirm that. That's just going to make that Night Witch's life very short, as the poison will also take out the bats. Ice Wizard just going to slow down the Lava Hound. He's going to get to tower, but it is not going to get a lot of damage in. But the Miner in the back might just change that. Tornadoed, activating that King Tower. It's not the end of the world, though, for a Lava Hound player.
Yeah, but Pup still survived. Flying Machine is putting out lots of output.
Yeah, and it connects into the tower, I think. That's going to be huge. Fireball takes out the Ice Wizard. And I mean, Paradox looking around like, yeah, okay, I got this, no worries. Graveyard comes down for Geralt. Flying Machine is there on the back. Night Witch at the front.
And Night Witch actually not in the poison.
Geralt trying to tornado everything into the poison there. Not enough. But did get quite a lot of damage. If you can do that one more time, might just be able to nick a tower away from Paradox. And of course, it's going to enter a nice equilibrium again. There is the graveyard. Is it going to get the damage in? It's already getting quite a few hits. Poison is down, but I think the Night Witch has this sorted. Defensive Miner as well.
Not going to be enough within time. 5 seconds. A Flying Machine is one thing. If you don't have a Fireball, you sort of have it on the poison, just like Musketeer going down to a poison. But it is just not the same.
It is so hard to deal with a Flying Machine without Fireball. I mean, you saw that Geralt was trying to throw everything down to kind of stop that push from getting to his tower. But once that Flying Machine got that connection, it was tower down. Geralt kind of didn't put up a fight that much in that game.
That tornado to activate the King Tower was questionable. But even with that activation, Paradox knew that that's always a chance because 100% there has to be a tornado with this ice graveyard from Geralt.
Yeah, and that tornado was kind of the go sign for Paradox to just kind of go for the jugular here. Because that was 3 elixir that might have been better served elsewhere.
Yes, you're supposed to use a tornado to pull everything away from the tower, not just use it on the miner. So I don't think that was really worth the trade of activating the King Tower.
We saw it was getting a little bit close, but once that graveyard fizzled out, there was no doubt in anyone's mind that Paradox had took game 2. And Geralt falls to the wayside. Who's going to be out next for Talon then? Who would you send against Paradox?
Line, Blizzard, Line.
Line?
How about that?
I mean, it could be either.
50-50.
Again, Talon's biggest problem this season is that they have been far too predictable. We know Line and Blizzard are going to come out. Geralt comes out, then Line, then Blizzard, or Geralt, Blizzard, Line, or any combination of that. And it has started to hurt them because at the beginning of the season, they had a great run of form. That's where they got all their wins. That's why they're currently sitting in the middle of the table. But since the second half, teams have figured out, right, we know what they're going to do. We know who we're going up against. We can take them time and time again. And that has been Talon's biggest pitfall.
Yes, and sort of the same for TTG, but they've been changing few things around, especially with Paradox. King of the Hill, their active roster is changing. Yomitsu playing up first, that's already another change for TTG. So Talon, maybe today's the day. Like, I keep on bringing. Like, One Crown has to play a game. He's got to play some 1v1.
I think he's there for 2v2, and then you got Geralt, Line, Blizzard for the 1v1s, and he's never going to make his way out. So it is going to be Line replacing Geralt here. I think TTG definitely did the right move by picking up Paradox when they did right at the tail end of the first half of the season. And it has definitely helped them to kind of throw opponents off kilter. You know, you could put Famous Kid in there instead of Boss, or you could put Huyi instead of Paradox. And you could definitely move things around a little bit. And and I'd expect to see that to play more of a role as we go on. If TTG can get the win here, I think that would do huge strides in terms of just the team morale, because they're on such a massive losing streak. Talon obviously the same, 0-4 this half of the season. But I feel like TTG need this more than Talon want.
I think they just have to get it down. It's going to take massive, massive win. It's possible that Lion just brings an Expo deck and then wins out the King of the Hill on his own. That's one thing you can't ban out from him on 1v1.
It is true. And if he does go for it, I'd be very surprised. But Line in red at the top for Talon. Paradox in blue at the bottom.
And so no Expo.
Not the perfectly synchronized death that we usually see.
Well, Paradox had skeletons.
Yep. So what are we looking at here? RG for Line?
Maybe just the Mega Knight Balloon with Fisherman instead of Cage.
Recruits, so Loon is looking a little bit more on the cards. Barb Hut. Does that mean we're going to get Graveyard at a push? There's the Balloon from
with the skeletons.
The Bob Hut isn't enough to pull it over, so this Balloon's heading straight for the tower. Fireball is enough to push it back. Death damage is going to come in and take out one Skeleton Dragon. That Heal Spirit is not going to connect. There's a Lumberjack coming down the lane. Paradox doesn't have anything really to stop this from coming in. The Skeletons, just enough to get this in.
Yeah, Line trying to pull some more, as he knows that Paradox does not really have any further ground defense.
That was a little bit aggressive though, don't you think? Was it a little bit too aggressive?
Yeah, but Paradox still has to wait for the Barb Hut timing. So I think Line was fine regardless. The fastest that can come is another second win condition card.
It's not going to be Graveyard anymore with the Fireball. So I'm guessing Royal Hogs. Curveballs definitely could be possible. Could throw in something else, but I assume Royal Hogs at this point as we enter the last 30 seconds of this game. Line is trying to be the aggressor here, but he is struggling to get into the towers. There's the Royal Hogs, and that's a lot of bodies. Snowball, great right there, but there's no Fireball. Fireball would have been amazing for Line right there. But that Fireball for Paradox is great. Damage comes in, and he takes a very slight lead. The only thing Line can push over the bridge with are those Skeleton Dragons. That is going to be cleaned up next.
Paradox not really finding time to have another hut, just going to rush in.
Yeah, he doesn't really need to. The Hog's going to get quite a bit of damage in here. The Skeleton Dragons not really helping out too much there. Raged up Balloon instantly turns into a normal balloon there. Fireball pushes it back, which it will allow the Musketeer to finish it up.
So the anti-air is certainly there for Paradox. Don't even need it. I think he's also saving Fireball in defense just in case of a raged up balloon.
More of that. Balloon's not going to come down though for Line here. He just needs to find a window of opportunity to lay it down, but look at that recruit down in that bottom left. Balloon comes down there instead, and Paradox has loaded up the Hogs on the right-hand side. The defense has got to be good here for Line. One balloon hit and the death damage, but I don't think it's going to matter. 287 remains on that tower. The Musketeer, it's not going to be enough.
We're talking a few more scratches from the Hog or a balloon hit, but the Hogs are going to be just a little faster. For Paradox, that's 2 for 2. TTG looking to close this match. in King of the Hill.
Yeah, and it would be a very quick day if that is the case. With every game finishing in just 6 games. Paradox getting his 2nd victory here. And well deserved it was with that Royal Hogs deck that we last saw him play against KK, where he did fall. KK got the victory against that deck, but
It did like the momentum switch with the fireball. Sometimes going aggressive with those fireball onto recruits, the lumberjack, or even before the balloon comes. Yeah, instead of playing the hut to keep it safe measure.
yeah, he kind of abandoned the Barb Hut towards the end of the game. Didn't really need to put it down, but he knew he didn't need it. And here, the Hog timing was great, knowing full well that that 1 Musketeer would be enough to take out the balloon. But the balloon did get the drop, but it wasn't enough. The Hogs managed to get a lot of damage in because Line overcommitted on that left-hand side to try and force the trade. When there's only 215 damage left on a tower and you have Fireball, nothing to distract the Hogs, it's game over. It's time to wave that Goblin white flag and just consider your life choices. Line does go out. It is going to be Blizzard coming up in the last slot for Talon. Is he going to be able to string together the 2 wins he needs to keep Talon in this game? Or will Paradox be able to replicate Boss's streak yesterday and get the 3 wins in King of the Hill? We're going to find out real soon when this game starts up. Game 4 of King of the Hill.
H2O time.
That's actually just like a small bottle, but like, you know, Blizzard's so small that it looks like a big bottle.
That's at least a liter bottle, right?
It's a 500 milliliter bottle in just a tiny person's hands.
No, that's like 1.5. Well, Blizzard, he has to defend. He has to get a win back-to-back to keep his team alive.
Game win rate for Blizzard there, 50%. That's over this season and last. This season is still 50%. King of the Hill 6-6. Strings together a couple of wins, strings together a couple of losses. He got the sweep against Team Timing earlier in the season. Then he lost to Yuya Mugi. Got 2 against TTG last time, where he took out Huyi and Nuamisa. And since then, it's been mostly losses with only a win against Rad. So not the worst run of form for Blizzard, but he is very streaky. It's a win and a loss, win and a loss. Getting the sweep and then losing a sweep's worth of wins. It's going to be an interesting match as Blizzard takes on Paradox. Blizzard fighting for Talon's life. Paradox hoping to close this out and give TTG their first win this half of the season.
Yeah.
Let's get into it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Blizzard opening up with the miner. Responded with the skeletons only. And with the hut, and Paradox might be trying the same exact Royal Hogs.
And it looks like Blizzard is going to go Lava Hound. Fair trade there between the Flying Machine and the Musketeer. So it is Night Witch.
I think with that fireball, Blizzard wanted to keep the Flying Machine alive.
Royal Hogs comes down. There is the cage. One Barbarian decides to go towards the tower. There's a lot of bodies here in the middle. One Hog on each side. The Skeleton Dragon's going to be pulled across by the Brawler. So just a little bit of damage getting in there this time for Paradox.
Still a lot more because that fireball did come down against the Musketeer. Paradox just instantly loaded up those Royal Hogs. I'm sure he wanted some more damage.
And here comes the Lava Hound. Bob Hut played. That's going to distract the Lava Hound quite a bit. But Paradox will eventually be able to fireball away that Flying Machine. So what is Blizzard going to put around this to make this stronger?
And also the Barbarians are going to keep that flying machine away from the lava.
Not even fireballing the flying machine out, just skeleton dragons enough this time round. Now this hog push pulled towards the center. Is there enough for Blizzard? He only has 4 elixir. He doesn't really have much to stop this. More hits coming through. 1890 on that tower.
Just about 2 hits from the Royal Hogs. But I think that's good enough for Paradox to keep the lead. And he's drawing out these fireballs also against the Musketeer.
Good fireball, allowing the Night Witch to take out that Musketeer. The Hogs on the right-hand side do get free reign as those Skeleton Dragons try to do what they can. Flying Machine Blade in the center, fireballed out of existence, which allows these 2 Skeleton Dragons to get onto the tower. One is taken apart by a Musketeer, but the other finishes itself off.
Yes, that Musketeer did so much work, so little elixir, only 4. But Blizzard, since he has been keeping that fireball now, that the Musketeer is alive, but that right top is going down. Only 1,000 remaining now.
Lava Hound explodes. Blizzard on the back foot. Only 1,000 hit points exactly remains on his top right tower. Can he get anything sorted? The Night Witch moved away, but the bats and the miner here gonna do quite a lot of damage. 726, 728, just like that. Blizzard gets a very slight advantage in this matchup as we enter the last 90 seconds.
Forcing out with the fireball, some more damage chipped in, but mostly from fireball, and Hogs, Royal Hog barely connected in that attack.
And the miner wasn't caught by the skeletons, and the Brawler's gonna get on the tower. That's it! Blizzard takes it from Paradox.
A little too aggressive from Paradox, expecting to go near finish. Near finishing blow with that aggressive fireball on his own. But because of Cage and the Skeleton Dragons from Blizzard, that attack was not as powerful.
Paradox had sat back a little bit more and just maybe absorbed the pressure instead of trying to push hard with the Royal Hogs. Might have been a different story. But again, Blizzard would have been able to push through eventually, would have been able to break through everything. And the opening exchanges actually went heavily in Paradox's favor. But look at that, there's 1,000 hit points left. This miner goes to town unchecked. These bats as well just tear through the tower as bats do. And that gave Blizzard the slight advantage. It looks as though this is going to be a big push. Fireball to clean it up, but only 2 hogs remain right there.
Yes, if that fireball got all the bats, because I think the Night Witch was about to break into bats.
Yep, the skeletons didn't catch the miner as well. I mean, Paradox thought the miner was going to go at the front of the tower. It ends up at the back, so the skeletons end up taking a long time to get to him, meaning more damage coming in. It's just... that felt like Paradox had that win within his fingertips, and then it was yoinked away last minute by Blizzard. That's going to hurt. That's going to hurt a lot, but they still do have 1 player left. It's going to be TTG's last player against Blizzard.
So, I'm guessing it's either Boss or Famous Kid. A lot leaning towards Boss, for sure.
It is going to be Boss. Okay, Boss against Blizzard. Boss had a great day yesterday. He swept away Nova Esports. He took out Rain, LCOP, and CRS. Can he do it again today and get another victory for his team in King of the Hill? Because if he can close it out today, he gets a win for the team. If he falls, it is down to that 1v1 set.
Just 1 game. For TTG, though, Talon, they need to win for 1v1 matchup.
Boss was a little on the lucky side yesterday against LCO, where that fisherman decided to drop all duties and walk off down the lane as Boss's
into
big
the right.
push was coming in on the left-hand side. We'll see if that rub of the green can happen again for Boss today and gets a win here against Blizzard. It's going to be difficult. Blizzard can turn up and did turn up against Paradox. Will that continue? Will that nice little win that he got against Paradox snowball into another win? We're going to find out. What do you think we're going to see? Loon, Mega Knight? Do you think we're going to see Royal Hogs 3M? What do you think we're going to see?
If it's not the old-fashioned or the lump meta decks,
Looking like RG Fisherman for Boss.
there are some lightning decks. Barbarian gets scratch.
With that Musketeer does change that a little bit, because yesterday you played the RG Fisherman with the Skeleton Log. Skeleton Dragons as well. Lava Hound loaded up for Blizzard. Royal Hogs from Boss. And that's a nice timing to exploit, but the Fireball is there for Blizzard. Just a little bit of damage coming in for Boss. What does Boss have to defend this?
Not as much. Want to cycle through into Musketeer.
It's going to make the Night Witch difficult to deal with. There's the Skeleton Dragons. Miner comes in to try and assassinate that Musketeer. Blizzard understands how important the Musketeer is in Boss's defense. And it looks as though he might take a lot of damage here. Fireball has to come in. 1, 2, 7, 4, and now he is way down in Elixir. At this point, it's about 4 or 5 Elixir down. How is he gonna come back from that?
A pretty hard matchup for Boss here. As Blizzard, he does have some ground tools to defend against the Royal Hogs and also Fireball. But for Boss, his anti-air is going to be mostly on that Musketeer only.
And the Skeleton Dragons.
Yeah, a little bit. Can you keep your Musketeer alive against the lava and those bats?
It's going to be hard. Flying Machine in the center. He's going to start wailing on those Hogs. Boss trying. He knows he has to trade at some point. And it looks as though that point might have been there, but managed to put enough pressure on the right-hand side for Blizzard, to kind of give up that left-hand push. Play it patiently again.
Now, there will be a time where Boss just has to give up the left side.
Does look like it's going to be now. And Blizzard understands that. He puts the Night Witch down on the right. This is a mountain to climb for Blizzard. For Boss, sorry. Blizzard does have Fireball, does have Miner. That should be enough to finish Boss's bottom left-hand tower. There's the Miner. Skeletons do catch it this time, though.
Boss looking for his last chances. But the Musketeer is just not back in time.
Sudden death, it is all down to these Hogs. Boss needs to try and exploit Blizzard's aggressiveness, and did manage to do that there. That was a big defense, managing to keep that Miner off the tower.
Still have to use a defensive Fireball there. As Blizzard has taken some more hit, but still running away with more than 1,000 hit points.
You can see that Boss was expecting the Miner to come in, played the Skeletons behind the tower. Blizzard just... Oh!
That Fireball misses big!
What a placement by Blizzard! Putting it 1 square further behind than it usually goes. Boss fires its usual place, and it is not enough. Doesn't catch the Miner. Blizzard takes game 5. And now, this is definitely a match. TTG took the 2v2 rather easily. King of the Hill was looking like it was going to be TTG's. Paradox got 2 wins in a row. But unfortunately, Boss did succumb to the Blizzard. And Talon Gaming get the win in set 2. There's just no anti-air here at all. The Miner going for the snipe on the Musketeer was a great move by Blizzard.
Yeah, Boss, knowing that play is possible, placed the Skeleton Dragons right on top. But there was nothing else that he could really do. He had the HUD in his hand, but
He had to wait for the elixir for the fireball too to get rid of the pups and the bats. I mean, it's hard, real hard. The log didn't really come into this at all. That placement of the miner, just one square
even
back.
Even the log was nowhere near that miner.
Oh, you love to see it. Like one slight square, Boss was prepared to just drop that fireball on the tower to push back the miner, and it would have saved him. It would have saved him at least one more push. But unfortunately, the miner juked the fireball, and there we have it. The 1v1. Now, who do you send out?
It's supposed to be Nyomitsu, right? Supposed to be Nyomitsu or Paradox.
But we saw yesterday, we saw Hui come in the 1v1. Because the 1v1 player is decided at the beginning at King of the Hill. We don't get that information come to us, but it is decided there, I think.
No, the 1v1 is turned in with the roster before the day, but they can change it before we go into King of the Hill.
All right, so we'll see who we're going to get come up here. Numi's a 60% record. Hui, 0%. Paradox, 100%. And on the opposite side, it's zeros all around.
It's deadly on the right.
Look at that.
The sheet covered with blood.
0-4-0-2. That Blizzard 0-2 comes against Mugi of Ponos, and Lines 0-4 does in fact come against Light and Elsiop. And this feels like it's a reward for yesterday's performance. Boss is going to be the 1v1 player coming up here. He hasn't played a best of 3 so far this season. We do have Blizzard, so it's a rematch of Game 5 of the King of the Hill. Blizzard versus Boss.
So they're just going to stay and go against each other at least 2 more times. But well, we can say that this will be a better matchup for Boss.
Yeah, I think
at least
in a best
compared to
of
what
3.
we just had.
Yeah, in a best of 3, I think this favors Boss a little bit more. Just because Boss is a lot more varied. Blizzard, I mean, is a great player, but you know, I just see Boss taking a best of 3 over him every day of the week.
So Blizzard has also got some newer deck in his sleeves, of course, with no sleeves right now. But there are some different types of bait decks that we have been seeing from Korean players, and I believe it started from Blizzard.
What decks would they be?
Just a single Goblin Barrel decks with more play with the Dark Goblin, and some also having cannon cards, but not the graveyard version. I'm talking about a different win condition with the Goblin Barrel.
We haven't seen Goblin Barrel on its own for a very long time. The last best of 3 that Blizzard played in against Mugi, he did play Minor Wallbreaker Mega Knight in the first game, and in the second game did play Royal Hogs 3M and ended up losing both of those to Mugi. So we'll see how he performs here. Boss's first best of 3 1v1 set. And this is Blizzard's second. It all comes down to this. Who is gonna take it? Both teams starving for this win. They are thirsting for it. They need it more than anything else. TTG need it to keep their dreams alive. Talon need it just to give themselves a little bit of breathing room after Fav Gaming gets that 5th victory.
And more spell baits. Ooh, a couple of nice scratches here for Blizzard.
Fireball against the Dark Goblin. Is a 1 elixir loss for Boss. Assuming he was saving the log for that. So it is double barrel bait for Blizzard. Boss is that going to pull the last second? It doesn't look like it is. Time to deal with that heal spirit.
And skeletons, so limited to only death damage, but still the boss, even though it's a losing trade, not really because you're damaging the tower. That Dark Goblin will start to get out of control once you don't take it down immediately. Especially taking down a lot of those barbarians. Reaching the hut will be a terrible idea.
Heal Spirit does take out all the skeletons, heals up. That Inferno Dragon that took no damage. Musketeer right up at the bridge. That's going to be enough to take that Dark Goblin off the board. And Hogs split at the bridge. The log is delayed. It's not coming in. Boss just has to eat that barrel damage.
Naked barrel, but in a return, he was able to do some work on the left and right, but even if you sum up both, not enough of what you have taken already from just one.
And that barb hook doesn't even distract the skeleton barrel there, so the log's going to come out for that, which means this goblin barrel is going to get more damage in. Boss's defense slowly slipping away the chances in this game. Slowly and surely slipping, going in towards Blizzard's favor. The Hogs played on the left-hand side. Bomb Tower is good to stop those Hogs. Dark Goblins, you got two of them on the board now, and that's just uncontrollable. Fireball comes in. Maybe, no, the Skeleton Barrel does come in, and another Goblin Barrel comes in as well, making that awkward timing where you want to lock both away.
Oh, the Inferno Dragon did connect on top, about 300-400. But still the mates are doing a little too much at the bottom.
Yeah, the barrel comes in. The Skeletons are good to distract a little bit longer. What's he got to stop this? The Skeletons actually split nicely around, which buys Boss a little bit more time. 93 left on that tower. It's all or nothing. Boss needs to get it done right here, right now. He cannot afford to wait. A fireball comes in and it is all over. There's the Goblin Barrel logged away, but I think fireball should be back in hand. There it goes, and that is that. Game one of this best of three going the way of Blizzard.
Double bait is the way, as we have just mentioned before the match, that Team Talon was practicing a lot of bait decks. And Boss sort of just caught right there. Like the spells. And also was pushed so far. When you're having the bar putt, the moment you put it down, you have to take some damage.
Yeah, especially against this deck with the double barrel. I mean, here he just spent so much getting those Hogs down on the ground that he had to eat the full damage of the Goblin Barrel. Had nothing to defend. And from there, it was just all downhill for Boss. He just could not get back into it. He has to eat another set of hits there. 4-3-6. The log was late to try and catch the Skeletons as well. And 93 damage. There's not much you can do when your opponent has that fireball. Again, when you have 93 hit points left on the tower. So unfortunately, Boss takes the first loss of this best of three 1v1 set, but set two, game two, will come real soon. Can Boss claw his way back into this one? Or will Blizzard snow out his opponent and take a 2-0 win and give the win to Talon? As we keep saying, both teams really do need this.
Blizzard just looking for this final decision before going into match. Line just giving him some word of advice. How about you try this deck that we practiced last night?
Why don't you play Wizard, Witch, Giant?
I don't think Line's ever going to see that.
Mark my words, one day.
Next one.
Have you ever played like a deck that you see in CRL? You're playing it and you go on ladder, and then somehow you go up against a guy who just has every possible counter, even if it makes no sense.
It has to make some sort of sense.
No, it makes no sense. It's like P.E.K.K.A minion horde, and you're playing like RG with no fireball or something like that. Like, it happens, man. I've played like mortar decks that I see here, and it's like they just have everything to just counter you, and you're like, why would you carry a witch, a wizard, balloon graveyard?
Because they are all available for you to play.
All right, so we're gonna see what happens here. Boss against Blizzard, TTG against Talon. Boss is one game down and fighting for the survival of TTG here. If they lose this, they do go 3-9. If Boss can win here, there is a chance that they will go 4-8 and join team timing in that 4-8 mark.
Fisherman Skeleton Fireball. Scream RG from Boss. And Blizzard might be trying Lava again with Flying Machine.
I was gonna say, it looks like Blizzard is going to the skies again. Which feels kind of the old, yeah, it feels kind of the old method where if you win, you don't swap the deck in the best of threes. We used to see it quite a lot out of the Asia region in CRL last year. We'll see what adjustments Boss can make. He does have the Hunter. That's going to nicely deal with the Lava Hound after a while. Where's the Miner going? It does go into that Hunter. Boss should be able to deal with that very nicely this time.
Does take some damage from Puff, but not as much as how he has already done. On the top left. And Boss having a Fireball against the Flying Machine is a good news.
There's RG, the Hunter there, trying to do what it can to make way for the RG. It is going to get one shot, and then the Brawler and the Bats are going to finish it off. The Night Witch also doing her job. This Hunter is very healthy crossing the bridge. It's going to delete that Barbarian. One shot into the tower, 12-26. Boss has a massive advantage as we enter that double elixir period.
But Lava Miner combination, if it goes out of control even once, it can be tower down, but so far lacking in defensive cards.
Well, that tower is out. Blizzard is focused on this one attack. He supports it with the Skeleton Dragons. That's going to slow them down a little bit. Miner there to snipe the Hunter. Bar Barrel coming in as well. And I don't think this push is going to get stuff done. There's a Fireball to clean that up. That does allow this Flying Machine and no, Hunter right underneath it to delete it.
Yeah, with only 20 seconds, Blizzard can't really put the lava down. The moment he puts the lava down, there's a miss a loss, but this is still way too much HP left for Boss.
Well, he put the Night Witch down the right-hand side, which isn't what he wanted to do. I think the Lava Hound is slowly going to make its way through. Fireball that off the table, but it's not going to be enough. Time is over, and Boss keeps the TTD dream alive. Game 2 goes his way. And we're down to the very last game between these two players to decide which of these two teams who have terrible form running into this match, 0-4 this half of the season, which team is finally going to get a win.
And is it just going to be Blizzard going back to the bait decks? So this is the problem. You bring Lava Flying Machine or Lava of either the Lumberjack or with the Balloon. Then you run into a matchup like these that can be ground heavy. That's still very much in meta, not out of the meta at all.
Yeah, and you just
still face a very hard timing, especially against these Hunter and Fisherman combination.
Yeah, and I mean here that was basically give up tower, let's see how it goes. Maybe he shouldn't have fireballed there.
I thought he was going to use the cage, or was it just not there?
I don't know. I think the fireball may have been a mistake. If he was going to go all in, he knew he had to sacrifice that tower. He could have just let those Skeleton Dragons go. Wait until they, you know, target onto the Lava Hound, let his own Skeleton Dragons do the job. But unfortunately, that's not what happened. Boss took the tower. Line couldn't get one down. and Boss takes us to a game 3 in this 1v1.
And Blizzard, double bait is also okay. Motor bait is another option that we have not been seeing at all. We did move into the motor graveyard version with the cannon card a lot more. Yeah, sometimes when even that's not enough, just a nice graveyard. So we're in this meta with how many different decks now?
Quite a few. There's a lot of different variations on a certain decks, especially with like the spell choice. If we include spell choice, there's like 100 decks that are possible. But I don't know what this last game is going to come down to. If I was Blizzard, I'd probably go back to double bait because it won me the first game.
I think that's a safe call. That's a safe call. And for Boss, maybe Royal Hogs, or maybe just keep a same or similar version of RG, which seems to be working okay against what Blizzard is actually doing right now.
Well, that's the second time I think he played Lava Hound Night Witch today. He played it in the King of the Hill, I believe. I can't really remember the exact decks that came out. Feels like it's a lifetime ago. But I think that's the second time he's played it. I don't think he'll play it again after losing. Boss going RG would be out of the realm of possibilities, but maybe he drops into that Lumberloon that he beat CRS with yesterday.
Lumberloons can totally catch a lot of players off guard, especially if you have not used the recruit yet. If you are using recruits, then from the opponent's side, you basically know that it's Balloon with Lumberjack.
I mean, we do see the recruits hogs occasionally. So it's, you know, it's not always Balloon, but I don't know. Like, it's so hard. The decision that Boss has to choose now is so important for the whole team. Hopefully the coach, Granzord, is there just saying like, all right, you got this. We believe in you. You do what you want. And it is barrels straight off the bat. Is Boss prepared completely for this? It is going to be logged with the skeletons. Fisherman, it's looking like we're going back to RG on the side of Boss.
Which is okay because Boss does have the control with Hunter.
Actually, that's huge for Boss. I think he actually ends up getting the matchup here.
It's not going to work all the time where Boss is also looking to pair up his Hunter with Fisherman and also with RG.
He doesn't need to pair up the Fisherman with the Hunter. There's no real big tanks on the side of Blizzard to worry about that. So that gives him a little more freedom on those Hunter placements. He can play them against these barrels. He can play them against the skeleton barrels. He has a lot more freedom because Blizzard doesn't have a big tank. Hunter goes down against this. This is why Blizzard has a massive advantage. Sorry, Boss has a massive advantage in this matchup. He has a lot of freedom with where he plays things.
He does, but the moment that RG keeps on spawning, Blizzard can poke the other side.
But then Boss has Log, he has Fireball. I mean, as you say that, he gets quite a bit of damage on that 2165. But this RG might actually get a lot of damage. Bomb Tower is a good solution for Blizzard to just slow down these RGs.
Even uses that log to get that Dark Goblin. Another good split with the skeletons for Blizzard.
Is that log there a mistake? RG at the bridge. Boss knows that would have been the last card in the cycle there. Heal Spirit is good, but I think that RG is going to expire to the night. One shot does get in, though. Hunter played high against that skeleton barrel. This is getting very close.
And down to less than 100 HP difference. Boss loading up another RG all the way from the back of the Pink Tower. Now looking to push into the left.
Skeleton Dragons this time to answer the skeleton barrel. Instead of that Hunter, Skeletons just to pull them away, allowing the tower to do its job. frees up the log here, I think. There we go, nicely does it. Boss has somehow got to find a way to get his RGs through those bomb towers. We might see that come into play, especially when we reach that triple elixir time where he can just double load them. And that's a much better position for Blizzard here, for Boss actually, as he can now push through. Is he going to get a shot on the RG? He is not.
And also the Dark Goblin was caught from that defensive log from Boss. Blizzard might have to think about his timing or delay the first timing.
Pulls himself into the bomb tower, walks back again, but this RG might get a shot. It does get a shot, and that's huge, as it has been about 2 minutes since the last damage coming through, or it feels like it. Feels like forever since the last time Blizzard got anything done to the tower, for sure. 1796 on that tower.
Again, Boss blocks it with the Hunter. Just have to worry about... Okay, perfect predicted log there, a little high up. All the way in the back.
Skeletons pulled into the center by other skeletons. Log should be in hand. There we have it. Boss is controlling his cycle really well. This RG is going to get 2 hits. Is it going to get 3? It lined it up, but unfortunately it is not. Defensive log surely comes in. So finally Blizzard manages to get more damage on the board. 13-27, but can this RG get damage done? It is not going to be able to. I think this time incoming log has to fireball that away.
As Boss is looking to get any sort of damage in. Now 10 seconds, Blizzard need to get some more extra stabs
to defend. Perfectly fireball sent over to try and just get this for him, and it looks as though Boss is gonna do it. He closes out a win for TTG. Boss has done it. Yesterday he was close to getting a win for his team as he swept away Nova. Now he takes Blizzard in the best of 3. What a day for TTG, finally getting a win in the second half of the season over Talon, who are now 5 without a win. Great play by Boss. The best of 3, that is where Boss shines. He's such a smart player. He knows what his opponent's gonna do. He kind of read the room, knowing his opponent would go back to the double bait, and brings the RG again. And as I said, like, without the big tank, you're free to put your hunters there. If it was against another RG, the hunter would have had trouble. But just opening up the deck selection of Boss, giving himself a huge advantage here. He had so many tools just to stop these skeleton barrels, to stop the goblin barrels.
I would have liked to see Blizzard challenging Boss a little more, not just the split, not just 3 split. Maybe one more towards the back, one towards the river. I think he had a lot more choices. Overall, Boss was ready for log every single time. Hunter against the skeleton barrel. Off to a pretty good cycle against both win conditions.
Yeah, so the RG proves to be enough to give Boss that MVP. 2-2 on the day. He lost 1 in the King of the Hill and then lost 1 in the best of 3. But finally, TTG get another win on the board. Hopefully, after yesterday's King of the Hill and today's best of 3, Boss gets the recognition and starts like continuing these performances, because he was great yesterday. He was great in that best of 3. Can he use that as like a leap pad to continue this form, to bring TTG back up the table? Because there was a point where they were second.
Well, that's all been found out, and that was a long time ago. Second, I think you're talking like week 2 or week 3.
Yeah, it was a long time ago. But they did get 3 wins in the first half. That's the first win, the second half. I mean, this could be the turning point, and TTG still can qualify for the playoffs. They need other teams.
The wins.
They need all the wins on their own, plus they need the teams around them to lose. Fav Gaming unfortunately did get the victory, So it does make it a little bit harder for TTG to do that because Fav Gaming losing today would have put them on 4 and 8. Same as TTG, same as Team Timing. But with that win, they're 5 and 7.
So TTG bringing down Talon was one. That was the important part, as Talon was sitting 5th. A little above Fav and just a little above Team Timing. So if Talon loses a couple more and Team Timing lose a couple more while TTG is having some victories, then they can escape. So, and of course, whenever I talk about more conditions for a team to actually move out to a spot where it's possible, it just means that it's going to be hard.
Yeah. Like leaving fate into the hands of the teams around you and the other teams in the league, that's not where you want to be. You always want to control your own destiny, but they have to allow it. They have to have some results go their way to allow them to get up that table, but they have to do that while getting results like this. As you can see, Nova bodied Ponos today, 0-2, an absolute slaughter. Nova managed to take out Ponos. Then game 2, Fav Gaming 2-0'd Kicks in very similar fashion. And then TTG versus Talon went all the way and finished for a TTG win. And you can see how close this is, 4-8, 4-8, 5-7, 5-7. The bottom 4 teams at the table, so it's still anyone's day. They just need some results to go their way.
Team Timing TTG. I thought TTG was going to climb up to number 7 spot, but it's that difference.
Yeah, unfortunately, they're not going to get to 7th, but Talon and Fav could definitely slip down. Next week's matches, this is Friday. Don't forget we have an extra day next week. Team Timing versus Kicks. Ponos versus Fav. Timing versus Kicks. Ponos versus Fav. 2 games very important for TTG, who will be watching. I assuredly they're going to be watching because they need those to go their way. And then on Saturday, it's going to be WEDGM versus Talon, TTG versus Timing, Kicks versus Ponos, at least Team Timing and TTG. TTG can still get out, but that is a match they have to win if they're going to make the playoffs at the end of the season. And then the final day on Sunday, Kicks versus TTG, Fav versus Talon, Nova versus WEDGM. Kicks play all 3 days. Gonna be the last week of the season, the main season next week. 3 days. It's gonna be an absolute bloodbath. Anyone can qualify, anyone can get to the playoffs, anyone could drop out except for Ponos and Nova.
Yeah, it is still possible where we can have lots of changes. Mainly it's up to the top 2 who's going to the 2nd round of that playoff, also guaranteeing themselves for the world spot, and the bottom 2 who we are not going to see in playoff.
Yeah, the bottom 2 teams will go out. So that is why TTG really needed that win today to keep their hopes alive, and they did. Now they got to hope for a couple of results, hopefully going their way, and they can still get in. They can still sneak in after a terrible second half of the season.
Do you think it's possible? It's possible, but their opponents...
At least they have some destiny. They have some destiny in their own hands. They do fight the teams around them. So maybe, but there's only one way to know for sure.
You have to wait for the next weekend.
Yeah, join us next week when we get into the final week of the season. So many good matches. We have 3 days. Join us on Friday for 2, Saturday for 3, Sunday for 3. End of the season is nigh. Playoffs are getting closer. Who is going to make it? Who is not? Find out next time on Clash Royale League East.